You've been a great friend, and I've been a great friend to you and to Israel, and it's been my honor. And the award that I was given was really surprising and very much appreciated.
Well, President Trump has broken so many conventions to the surprise of people, and then they figure out, oh, well, maybe, he was right after all. So we decided to break a convention too, or create a new one, and that is to award the Israel Prize, which in almost our 80 years, we've never awarded it to a non-Israeli. And we're going to award it this year to President Trump. This was announced formally over lunch by our Minister of Education, who's responsible for the Israel Prize. It's going to be awarded to President Donald J. Trump for his tremendous contributions to Israel and the Jewish people. I think it's such a fitting thing, and it would honor us, obviously, Mr. President, if you could visit Israel in that occasion on our Independence Day. But I have to say that this reflects the overwhelming sentiment of Israelis across the spectrum. They appreciate what you've done to help Israel and to help our common battle against the terrorists and those who would destroy our civilization. So, again, that's an expression of thanks and appreciation.
Thank you, baby, very much. That really is a great honor.
It's the Home Live Left with Matt Weinglass and co-host Craig Pasta Jardula, Jay Scott, and NIKO House. It's top censored news of the year. And here's your host, Matt Weinglass.
Welcome, everyone, to our final stream of the year of 2025. I'm your host, Matt Weinglass. This is THL, the non-tribal approach to news. We're doing our end of the year special for you guys. We're calling it Top Censored News of the Year, or as Leslie says in our opening, Top Censored News of the Year. So there it is. We have a countdown of 10 stories. You guys know how it works. We do 10 stories. Well, generally we do 3, but because it's been a big one, it's been a massive one, we're not going to get to all of the news, but the news is basically what the mainstream either ignores or they cover it, but in a dishonest way. And the way you do dishonest journalism is the stuff you leave out. So that's why we're here, to pick up the pieces that were accidentally left out. No, most likely on purpose. That's why we do this show, this particular segment, Top Censored News, and why we do the homeless left at all. And the reason we're here in the first place, and the reason you guys are here, is because you want honest takes, honest investigation, honest analysis, honest conversations, and honest discourse when needed or when appropriate, which is anytime we have a difference of opinion, which is fine. That's actually cool when we have that, because then we can listen and take in new information, maybe reassess. This is how life should be. This is how we should be dealing with everything in our day-to-days. But unfortunately, that's not how politics and news and media has conditioned us. They've done the opposite. They told us, get in line, shut up, stick with your tribe, don't question your own leadership because you're helping the other team. The other team, who are they? They're the bad guys. They're the bad guys. We're the good guys. They're the bad guys. But once we realize that we're all being played on each other, and the people funding both sides, the people creating these narratives, are the ones that want us distracted and make us hate our neighbor and our friends and our family. In really horrible cases, we remove people from our lives when we're told they're the bad guys. So we're done with that. We're going to align a real populist movement here on the homeless stuff. We've been doing it for the last few years with you guys. We appreciate all your support through all of our trials and tribulations. And every time we've been able to get on the ground, get to the story, we've done that. But generally, it's really about the relationships we make and connect with not just you guys, our fellow journalists, and we're making these relationships, and that's how we do this. We can't do it alone. It takes a team. It takes a village. And we're not tribal. Let's be clear. This is about a community, which is different. A community is where everybody is welcome. We are all about our uniqueness, our individuality, and our ability to reason and think and criticize. You don't have to check any boxes to get in this room. That's the difference. So if you are wondering if you're part of a community or you're part of a tribe, look no further than how many boxes do you have to check to get into the room. We don't have to check any, except just be ready to think for yourself. That's pretty much it. That's it. All you got to do. And don't do anything physically or, don't attack people. And that's it. In a general broad way, we don't protect a very specific group above all others. We say just let's treat everyone with the same respect. Nobody gets any special treatment. That's the other thing. So with all that said, let's move on. And we're talking about relationships. Well, look no further than you guys know we've had a great relationship with our co-host we're going to bring in right now. He's been with us through thick and thin. And here we are finishing up the year 2025. We don't want to do it with any other person than Craig Pasa JARDULA. Let's bring him back in here one last time for 2025. Hey, there he is.
Got to unmute the mic this time. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
Good.
All this information, great opening monologue, and it's crazy. We've been talking about this, is that people are still playing the lesser of two evils, the two tribe game. I've been speaking in Boca Raton to a lot of Italian people that are still Trumpers and the bullshit excuses they make for this guy. Remember, I've said to you before, Matt, I think I've said to the audience and plenty of people before, that I never thought we'd reach a level of hero worshiping than what we reached when we had Barack Obama. It was like ridiculous. People made excuses for the guy left and right. Well, the Trumpers came along and said, hold my beer. It's still like that out there, and it's really a shame. People are so informed. It's low information voters. That's a nice way of saying that we have a lot of stupid people in this country. We do, unfortunately. They're not plugged in. They look at politics as like a football game, red versus blue, whatnot. And, even though your team might lose their character or not do what they said, they didn't do what they say they were going to do, and they lost their principles, you still got to stick up for your team no matter what and constantly make excuses. So that's what we're facing out there. And they have media specifically in line to protect that. A lot of the independent media became the alternative media. I think the ruling class got a sense of that, mainstream media is not being trusted anymore. Only old people watch TV. So how do we get the younger minds? Well, we got to move to the internet. That's why we got to be very cautious of the Candace Owens and the Tucker Carlsons and stuff, just because the people they surround themselves with or the sponsors they had. I'm not saying that for sure. They don't mean well, or they're not doing any good for some of the information they brought forward. Yeah, that's fine, but you've got to be very aware, because it's where they will mislead you, because that's why they're there to do it, mislead you. A lot of people feel Alex Jones is a controlled opposition, right? So, we just got to pay attention. We have to look at the people who are principled, and because the people who are principled and the people who took the blows, right? We took a lot of blows. Matt Weinglass, this is his second YouTube channel, ladies and gentlemen. And I told him when it happened, I explained to Matt, my personal feelings is that we are so far advanced in this particular information game. The ruling class understands that they can see somebody with integrity, a person who can think for themselves, and they're going to clip his nuts before he even gets the momentum. They're going to not even let him get the momentum. It's a little bit different than when we got it. We were starting to get some serious momentum, the combo couch, and then we got our nuts clipped. But now they even catch you earlier. So kudos to you for going through it on your second YouTube channel. What a great year it was. Man, I'm glad you had me on here. But, dude, this whole Putin assassination attempt has just got my mind fucking spinning right now. Spinning. No. But anyways, please.
No,
go right ahead, sir. And thank you for having me on.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to the two guys who are coming on with us later on, too. It's going to be a lot of fun here, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's let people know that we will be also joined a little later in the show. We'll be joined by Jay Scott, and then we'll also be bringing in NIKO House. So we're gonna have quite a panel for you guys as we count down the top 10 stories that we feel were not covered accurately, and that's why we're doing this show. Top censored news of the year, top 10 stories. Let's get to it. Just real quick, I want to just make sure people know they can get us on Rumble here. That's the channel that hasn't been turned off, although they are keeping tabs on us, and we're certainly plugged into the supercomputer, as they say. And there's actually, you know what, Craig, some viewer pointed this out. They're smarter on Rumble to not pull the plug, because then we get to keep talking, and then they get to keep using that against us. Whereas on YouTube, we go, oh, you terminated us. Maybe we'll go do something else and not do this. So there may be smarter to not pull our plug, but either way, we're going to continue having these conversations.
It's still just and once again, glad that we're here on Rumble today. Glad we're kind of, hopefully get a couple Rumble rants to help out for the new year. My boy deserves it. He's been working hard. But the finances on Rumble have never been equivalent to what goes on at YouTube. And now they got a lot of crazy shit going on in Rumble. The way they're changing their algorithms and changing their method, their whole work, the way you kind of their workspace now, how you have to plug into certain things. I heard Substack's now going for age verifications. I mean, it's just it's not. People have to understand that it's not like these individuals. It's a whole mechanism, right? And the state is getting their grip tighter and tighter and tighter. And with Donald Trump, it became a lot easier for the state to collect even more data on us to understand our next step. He's just handed over fucking the whole your whole data to Peter Thiel and Palantir. And then you got Larry Ellison, who wants to take all that information. There's a bunch of AI interviews out there right now going on for fake jobs. There's no jobs. They just want to collect the data and the information. So they're doing this all over the place, Matt. We are now the lab rat that they are testing on 24/7, and it is such a controlled environment. So even though I'm thankful that Rumble is here, once again, it is still another controlled party going on. So, but we got to scream from wherever we're at. If they let us on, we go on there. But understand that that's still in a controlled environment as well. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, Craig, just if you can check your tech. You might be a little behind, or there's a little fuzziness. I don't know. Can you do a little bit of just to eye it out? I don't know. It wasn't like that when we before we went live for some reason.
Am I fuzzy right now?
Little bit. Are you seeing me though? I want to make sure.
Yeah, I'm clear. Let me go to the Rumble. Are you looking at the Rumble?
Yeah, I'm looking at StreamYard and on YouTube and Rumble. It looks like you're a little more faded than my box. Yeah,
this is live. No, that's
while you're taking a look. We do have a little super chat going from our good old citizen, saying, "Don't worry, Matt, about when we are trying to mesh YouTube plus Twitter lives while fighting the throttling on both. It's impossible to be on time." Well, we got close. I think we only started 6-7 minutes behind, but that'll be a New Year's resolution for us, citizen. Our New Year's resolution is I get this from an old high school drama teacher. You say on time is early is on time is late, and late is fired. So if you keep those principles, shouldn't be a problem moving forward. So we'll start applying that, let's say after New Year's. So on the 1st. So next time you see us, guys, we will try and uphold that sentiment. And let's see if we bring Craig back in. Let's see how it's looking. Here we are. It's better right away.
I don't know.
I see it. No, man. I see it. It's better. It might have been a glitch on StreamYard. But you reset.
Fuck StreamYard too. Love you. Thank you.
I know.
God damn.
Okay.
There's so many crazy ways to attack us.
Yeah, they have a lot of ways. So why don't we get going on here? Here we do. Let's go. Are we going right into this right now? Or are we gonna? I know you have something planned, but you did mention to me that we might be talking about it at the top of the hour, bringing it right in. We're gonna bring it in on the 10th story because it happens to be the one we're covering on number 10. So
gotcha.
We'll bring it right in. We'll cover the whole thing because I don't want to. I'm not gonna clip this show. This is gonna run straight live.
Thank God. Give yourself a break.
Yeah,
Maybe drink a little champagne.
People want Top Censored News, they can watch the whole live if they want the Top Censored News.
There you go.
There it is. I'm done clipping for this year. We're done. Okay.
Matt's putting his feet down, foot down, people.
We are putting our foot down right now. Let's put up the right banner for Top Censored News of the Year. And let's do a little intro. We'll get going. Here we go. Uncanceled Comedy Collective presents Top Censored News of the Year. It's Top Censored News of the Year. We're bringing you the stories the mainstream media just refuses to cover. If they cover them, they always do it in a very dishonest or sloppy way, and it's always on purpose. I'm here with co-host Craig Pasa Jardula. We're going to kick off the top 10. We'll start with number 10 of the stories that were just not covered honestly. And this is very fitting for right now because this story is ongoing, as a lot of them are. They're ongoing stories, but there are reveal moments for all of them. Coming in at number 10, Trump's Ukraine plan turned out to be the same as Biden's in a lot of ways. So we're going to start with the opening clip that we were promised. Anybody who voted for Trump for this reason, hey, we ain't mad at you if this was the one thing you wanted, because it seemed like maybe the one thing we could have got out of all the other things. This could have been the thing. Here's Trump. If you guys want to remember what he told us.
It was the one thing we counted on, Matt. Let's be honest. It was the number one fucking thing that, like, at least we're going to get the Ukraine Russia.
They were trying to be practical, but even in that the sense of we're going to get the one thing, guess what? You didn't get it. It was the exact same plan we just came out of for the original few years into this thing. Here's Trump telling us, no. It's going to be much different.
That within 24 hours. And if I win, before I get into the office, I will have that war settled. 100% sure. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, shortly after I win the presidency, I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled, and we'll do it quickly. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, shortly after I win the presidency, I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled, and it will settle with Ukraine and Russia. I will get them to settle that war very quickly, even before I become president.
So officially, the first red flag probably we knew right then that was impossible. You can't do it in 24 hours. But the first kind of red flag that was like, why is Trump assigning special envoy Keith Kellogg? That's weird for the Ukraine guy, because this is what he said going in.
The Ukrainians want to fight. They don't want U.S. troops. They don't want NATO troops. All they want is equipment, and they're going to fight this to the end. It's very clear to them that this is a very aggressive Russia move. It's targeted on civilians. It's targeted on infrastructure. You know, we went out pretty far to the northeast. And we saw some absolute incredible destruction out there by the Russians. And it was targeted on infrastructure. It was targeted on hospitals. It was targeted on schools. In fact, the mayor of Kyiv told us later that this is genocide. And I think when we look at what's going to happen over there, I believe it's very important we get them the equipment to fight. Because I think now we're right on the cusp. And I think it's going to come out probably in just a couple of months when we get into the spring, into the summer, and then into the fall. This is going to be a fight to the end.
In the spring and the summer, we're going to fight it out. Ukraine's going to fight all the way. Sounds like he just put Lindsey Graham in charge of everything, which is basically what Keith Kellogg told you coming in. So you should have known that weapons were going to continue to be sent to Ukraine. Here's Trump telling us in his presidency, all the weapons going to Ukraine.
Are you planning to send more weapons to Ukraine?
We're going to send some more weapons. We have to. They have to be able to defend themselves. They're getting hit very hard now. They're getting hit very hard. We're going to have to send more weapons. Yeah, defensive weapons, primarily.
Defensive.
But they're getting hit very, very hard.
And you think that was a one-time thing? No, he's been doing this the whole time. It's weapons and money, big money, big weapons. Here you go. This just happened now. We got this. It looks like even more money in this $1 trillion. He just signed this like a week ago. Trump signs $1 trillion annual defense bill without fanfare. There's obviously Ukraine money thrown in there. Yeah. So this is still ongoing now through the first year. There that is. Now look,
it's only 800 million. It's not even $1 billion. Come on. Peace,
It's
President.
It's peanuts compared to good old Netanyahu. So yeah,
Yes.
but right, but it's weapons and money, weapons and money. What about the peace deal, though? Come on, Matt and Craig, you guys know Trump's been working, tirelessly on this peace deal. Well, you could say kind of working on it. I don't want to say tirelessly, but how are we going to get to a conclusion of a peace deal if Ukraine keeps doing whatever the hell we nudge them to do and then pretend that we're not participating and not having anything to do with it? Well, you were alluding to this earlier, Craig. And I think if people haven't heard yet, the latest, unfortunately, horrible atrocity has now happened from Ukraine, who apparently has gone out of their way to, I guess you could call it a Christmas gift for Zelensky, which went horribly wrong. But apparently he thought he could just take care of business and take Putin out himself just in time for New Year's. Breaking that Russia state media has reported Ukraine has allegedly attempted to assassinate Vladimir Putin by targeting his residence, his home. Wow. Moscow warns of an imminent, thunderous, and devastating response as tensions soar. Did Trump have anything to do with this? Well, he'll tell you. Well, we know what he's going to say when he's asked about it. Here's Trump, who happens to be standing right next to his favorite pal, partner in crime, some would say handler, Netanyahu, as he's asked about this.
I don't like it. It's not good. I heard about it this morning. You know who told me about it? President Putin told me about it. Early in the morning, he said he was attacked. It's no good. It's no good.
Russian officials
Don't forget, the Tomahawks. I stopped the Tomahawks. I didn't want that.
Peace,
We're
President.
talking about, it's a delicate period of time. This is not the right time. It's one thing to be offensive, because they were offensive. It's another thing to attack his house. It's not the right time to do any of that, and can't do it. And I learned about it from President Putin today. I was very angry about it.
We've gone from living in a cartoon, Matt, to living in a fucking straight up clown house. Straight up clown house. And that guy's the biggest fucking clown. Enough is enough with this shit. It's not the right time. Remember the Tomahawks? Oh, you peaceful guy. You stopped the Tomahawks. But right now, you just signed a bill that's going to send 800 million more weapons. And you've been sending weapons nonstop since you were supposed to end it in 24 hours. Please. It's ridiculous. Go ahead.
Now, we've been following Putin. Obviously, he's been the one out of everybody, out of all the NATO psychopaths, all the EU psychopaths, all the Ukraine psychopaths, everybody that's been acting. And when I say, I'm not just saying that, just throwing a word around. They've all literally been acting like psychopaths. From Angela Merkel laughing and gloating about how we faked the Minsk agreement. Just example after examples. Lindsey Graham. All of these right now, as we know in all the European countries, they're all being forced and threatened that they have to get behind a full-out war with Russia. The whole time, Putin is the only one that's been calm, been collected, been playing it very smooth, and thank God, because if he hasn't, we wouldn't even be here doing the show right now. So how is Putin going to be responding to this, Craig? Because it seems like he might be at his wit's end. Maybe everybody has a breaking point. Is this Putin's breaking point?
Well, when I talked to you earlier, I said, Matt, what can it be now at this point? I've said many times on air, and I didn't feel this way at first. It took me some time to look at this, to analyze the situation. But early on, I was convinced that this war would never end until the Russian Federation, I shouldn't say, Putin, because they have their own body of, they're called the Duma, right? They have their own body of Congress, which is equivalent to our Congress. The only way that they can come to a conclusion and end this war is to take Kiev. And I thought that the Russian Federation would have to do this. How could they have Nazis who hate them living on their doorstep, right? Especially if they're going to be continuously funded by the West. And this started way before 2014. This started way back in 1994 or whatever, after the Soviet Union had broken, countries had taken alliances and been, took back their national sovereignty. Immediately, NATO started, going ahead when they should have been disbanding, because now here in 1991, the Soviet Union's gone away, the Russian Federation's coming in. You know, they're pulling back. They left East Berlin, for crying out loud. Why the hell are we still going on? But we've always been pushing it, and one of the hottest spots has been Ukraine. And I've said for quite some time, they cannot end this war until they take Ukraine. And Putin has a lot of patience, right? I mean, nothing has really changed at all from what they've been asking for, their demands to end this war for the last several years, since the special operations, in which now the Duma, right, has now considered changing this, and they are changing this from a special operation to an all-out war. Vladimir Putin has been appearing in fatigues, talking to his generals, talking to his upper echelons of military, right? This is a little bit different now, right? This isn't about a special operation. This is war. And it's not just war right now with Ukraine. It's all of Europe and NATO, especially these countries like Germany and Italy and England, Great Britain, you know, France, who want to continue through, you know, other means, the MI6, their special forces. They've had to have helped with this 91 drones attack on his house, right? And guess who else had to be involved? The CIA.
Yep.
So I think the patience has run out. I mean, unless this is a script playing, Russia's talking about their existence, right? You know, they got to do something right now too as well. Vladimir Putin has like a 70% approval rating for a reason. Well, he doesn't want to let that go. They're mobilizing. I think they've called up like 650,000 troops, in which 350,000 to 400,000 of them, Matt, are going to be permanent. They're readying themselves. And how long do we continue to fucking play around? I've said for quite some time also that Donald Trump doesn't have the power to end this war. I think that's obvious now.
Yeah.
It's beyond evident. It's obvious. Just like the reason why he had Clark Kellogg. You said, why is Clark Kellogg in charge when this guy's, I'm going to end the war in 24 hours, and you're pretty much putting Lindsey Graham with glasses in charge?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why are you doing that? Same thing with Marco Rubio. I think he was told this is what he has to do. Donald Trump is just merely an actor. He's playing a part. And then now they're holding the Epstein shit over him just in case he doesn't even play even further. And I don't believe it's Israel as a whole. I believe this is the ruling class working together. Right? I mean, obviously, it seems like Israel has the most special treatment and they get the biggest protection. But this seems like they're all acting in one, because it doesn't just benefit. This is a situation. When you look at what's going on in Gaza, you say that benefits Israel. Once again, we're fighting Israel's wars. I know it's going to probably be one of the stories today. I hope I'm not leaking out the information. Donald Trump is giving Netanyahu the thumbs up to go back to bombing Iran. You know what I'm saying? But Russia, Ukraine, you know, that's more about Western imperialism. Taiwan, Western imperialism, right? We want to get a foothold in there. I mean, Israel, our little brother is going to come along with us to make sure they grab some of those resources and get involved. In
not little brother. I appreciate your assessment.
I say by the size, whatever.
Every one of our imperialist activities benefits Israel. None, unless you can show me one that hurts them. Then I would say, okay, maybe they're our little brother, because little brothers
some benefit more than others, right?
Little directly, sometimes okay.
Right. Some directly benefit them. Some that every single part of the empire's movement is going to benefit Israel in some way, shape, or form, because they're going to be tied at the hip with us, of course. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm just trying to say is that Russia, Ukraine benefits. It doesn't benefit Israel as much as Israel Gaza. Does that make sense?
Yeah, some of them are way more of a gold mine for them. But us being all over the place, all over the world, this part of chaos, creating chaos, gives them cover for the greater Israel project, and they're using our checkbook to do it. And
what I'm saying is that the West also benefits too as well. The United States benefits with it. You know, there's so much money going through the West. A lot of Christians make that money. You know, in America,
we get our cut.
You know,
Lindsey
we
Graham
get our
gets
cut. You know what I'm saying?
Lindsey Graham gets his cut. Yeah.
I think it's like Meyer Lansky and what's his name? Lucky Luciano, except, you know, Lucky Luciano doesn't have. Meyer Lansky's the guy who never went to prison. Lucky Luciano got deported and went to prison. You know what I'm saying? So, I can think you see the relationship like that. But just going on about this whole situation, now, if it is not a script being played in front of us, I don't know how they could not. I think the patience has run out. And if it's, once again, if this is not a script, they got to be looking right at us now, Matt, going, all right, enough is enough, dude. I said, what at this point, they don't just start hitting some places in Europe, right? They're going to hit some places.
Sounds like that's what's coming. That's what we're going to be waking up to start next year. That's my prediction. It's coming. That's what we've pushed it to. And what we need to come away from as Americans, as people here, and I know we have an audience global audience, but specifically our U.S. audience needs to understand. And the reason we put Trump's Ukraine plan is the same as Biden's as the number 10 story is because you have to understand, if one thing we can take from this, it's they're all in on it together. The two-party theater, Craig Pasa is calling it a script. It is a script. It's worse than a script. It's a franchise. You keep a franchise going with shitty sequels that keep getting people to come out and see the next chapter as they're making it up as they go with no sense of where it's going, except we need to make as much money on this thing as possible. That's why we are where we are now. If the media is not going to tell us it's the same plan, they're going to keep pretending that Trump's doing something unique here. It's the same plan as Biden's. We need to get out of the two-party duopoly. I think that's the thing. And if there's one more lesson from Putin we should learn, it's this. I got to read the thing. Let me take this off here. Okay. So this is one of the most important things he's saying about us.
And Oliver Stone, right? Yeah.
Yeah. This is, why does NATO keep existing? My impression is that in order to justify its existence, NATO has a need of an external foe. There's a constant search for the foe or some acts of provocation to name someone as an adversary. That's it. That's the model for Western imperialism. That's the model for Greater Israel Project. That's the model for everything. We create the enemy to justify our actions. That's what NATO is. If there's one takeaway from this year with this Ukraine situation, and you voted for Trump for that issue, sorry, you got played, but let's take that away from this. It's the same policy. It doesn't matter who's in charge. That's it.
And by the way, too, when I say script, I'm saying like Russia and China involved.
Oh, you're saying they're all part of the writers.
Well, okay, I mean, you know what I'm saying? If it's one of those situations where those nation states want to control their own people, the best way to do that is to have an adversary, and then you're always in an emergency situation, and you can have more eyes and grip on top of your societies, right? So I'm even saying that part of it. Listen, anything's possible, right? You know, and I could they all be a part of this whole, like, well, we have to be adversaries, we have to have war, there's too many people on this planet, it's part of a depopulation situation. And when there's an enemy out there, you stand behind your leaders, and that's how you don't lose your power, because there's another existing enemy out there and you're going to stand behind your leaders. I mean, that's how the Donald Trump administration has got a lot of the Trump people who are still making excuses for him, still following him and going behind him. There's an enemy within, there's an enemy out there, stand behind me and give me your support, and I'll take care of it. So, I mean, who knows at this point. But by the way, final statement too is like, we're talking about hitting places in Europe, right? If this is two sides, whatnot, globalists versus national sovereignty, and Russia's fighting on the side of national sovereignty and we're fighting for the globalists, hitting places in Europe, residential areas and whatnot, military targets in Europe, but then funding our proxies that, against us. If I was Russia, I'd be like, here you go, Cuba. Here you go, Venezuela. Here you go, Nicaragua. And I'd supply them with a lot of stuff. Now, those countries are not going to go and just do anything that Russia says, but, you can create a couple situations out there letting them know that they're going to be funded to the nines. They're going to get food. They're going to get supplies. They're going to get energy. They're going to get weapons. Don't let them, and we got your back. Let's go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let us get a base in your country. You know what I'm saying? You're in a Russian base in fucking Nicaragua? I've been in Nicaragua and sat next to the Russian delegation, man. Those guys can eat iron bars, man. They're not fucking around. So,
all right, moving on. Coming in at number 9. This one hits home for us here in LA. The LA fires was a land grab. Oh, I thought we were supposed to wait for Anderson Cooper, Rachel Maddow. They were gonna check back in with us once they had more information. They didn't know. We're still waiting for them to check back in with us about Lahaina also. I'm still waiting for that update. They haven't given it to us. That's weird, but I don't want to listen to all you podcasters out there telling us this because it's too soon. It's too soon to look into it. Well, we looked into this right away. This was January. This is how we started the year off, guys. Just to remind you, back in January, we woke up to a massive, biggest fire we've seen in our lifetimes in this part of the world, specifically at this time of year, which was absolutely insane. And I mentioned Lahaina. This was very familiar of Lahaina. This is Malibu. This is what happened in the Malibu coast. There were multiple fires raging for multiple days. all over the Southern California. And, you know, our governor did everything wrong. And a lot of people, if you ask them today, they would say, yeah, there was a lot of people that botched stuff. But that's the limit. That's the extent they want us to be concerned and upset. And we still have conversations with people today. They say, yeah, it was really bad what they did. It was really bad that Karen Bass cut fire department funding accidentally just months before the fires happened. It was really bad of her to do that. If we had a smarter person, they wouldn't have done it. So again, we're stuck in this oopsie mentality. Here's another oopsie. There's State Farm. You guys remember this? Upscale West Side LA neighbors were hit very hard by State Farm home insurance cancellations right before the fires. Not an oopsie, guys. It's right on target. This reminds us of 9/11 and getting out insurance. Larry Silverstein getting insurance on the 2 buildings right before the fire attacks. It reminds us of put options on stocks the day before 9/11. So things that happen right before, they're not oopsies, they're on purpose. So we knew this right away. Well, what else is there going on here? Well, I told you about Newsom. This is what we had going in. We should have been suspect of this guy going into this year. We knew there was $24 billion that was gone, that was supposed to go to homelessness. That went into NGOs' pockets. Newsom was part of that. He should have been removed immediately when this came out, which was before the fires. We covered this in December of last year, before the fires. All of the money scamming going on in this state. It's basically the equivalent of the U.S. government scamming money. We were doing it on a massive level here with Newsom running everything. He should have been the last person that we go to help us with these. What do we do about these fires? Well, Newsom didn't do it on his own. He told us he went to get help. Who did he get help from? He's going to tell you who he got help from.
I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor of down in Hawaii.
What? He went and talked to Josh Green? That's weird. What would Josh Green be able to help Newsom with? The guy who handled Lahaina, crossed all the T's, dotted all the I's. Another land grab that Craig, we covered that. We went there to cover it. And then what happens? It's not just happening over there. It happens right here in our effing house, right here. And he's saying, I'm talking to the guy that showed me how to do this behind everyone's back and pretend that we just made a few little oopsies. That's what
some ideas around some land use concerns he had.
There's that famous little back and forth he does with the shoulders. Guys, that's going to be imprinted in our heads forever.
That's around speculators coming in, buying up properties and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward. And we'll be presenting those in a matter of days, not just weeks.
He's literally telling us how they're doing a land grab right to the local news. He's telling us we're going to buy up all the properties. He put all these new rules in place. You guys know new rules? Well, one of the new rules was you can't have single if your house got burned and you want to reinvest, he's going to take that and give it to the bank. You're not allowed to have a single family ownership anymore. He did this in all these districts all over LA County, and he's bragging about it. He's going to have the commercial banks buy these properties and then rent you out. They're going to buy it for 10% of the value, and then they're going to rent it out for triple. That was always the plan. Well, why would he do this, Matt? Why? That seems like just for money. Is there anything else that we need to look at besides the money? Well, of course there is. What's coming up in LA? The 2028 Olympics. Well, good thing he put a really nice team together between Newsom, putting together Magic Johnson, Casey Wasserman, Mark Walter. They're leading a philanthropic LA fire recovery initiative. That sounds like a completely horrible thing to be announcing on the LA Times here. Just to look at one of these guys, Casey Wasserman. Why does that name sound familiar? Oh, that might be why. Look at that. That's the guy doing the preparation for the Olympics. This dude. So that's and we're supposed to be fine with this. So this is what we're looking at. And then there you go. This is not some conspiracy theorist that wrote this on his own, stencil on Canva. This has actually been released by the city of Los Angeles. So you guys know, Smart LA 2028, technology for a better LA. Craig, bringing back dark memories for you like it has with me.
Yeah, Maui, right? Like the keynote speaker, Josh Green, the governor that he talked to, was also the keynote speaker for Sustainable 15-Minute Cities at the UN literally 2 months before those fires. These things are set in motion before they do happen. There's also something that we talked about, that money that went away. The homeless thing, we know the NGO has been sopping it up. It's been an inside game. They profit off people's miseries, right? That's what LA's been doing for quite some time, California. And that guy's been at the helm of it. The guy who slept with his best friend's wife, was his campaign manager, this scumbag here. He's part of the Pritzker family. I think he's just an in-law to them, but he's still one of them. But he also was questioned about all this money he had for controlled burns one year, where he was only able to show about 10% of the controlled burns he was allotted the money for. So they were like, okay, why didn't you do the controlled burns, number one? And number two, where's the fucking money? They never got back to one. And this corruption happens on a regular basis out here. Nobody ever pays a price. And a lot of the reasons why nobody ever pays a price is because they hide under the umbrella of tribalism that you talked about in the beginning of the show when you open up with your monologue, Matt. I mean, you want to talk about, the whole tribalism with this guy, right? The whole Donald Trump and the ICE situation made Gavin Newsom look like a fucking hero. Like they just were able to prop this guy up where he was able to look in the camera. You want to arrest me, but stop terrorizing these families. And everybody was like, oh my God, Gavin Newsom standing up against Donald Trump. And then the mainstream media and all the all the little freaking tribal channels are just parroting Gavin Newsom and making him look like a hero. Nobody ever pays a price. There's no accountability for anything, not from crime, for fraud, or even a bad job where you should just lose your fucking job. Instead, they have the whole system rigged where they constantly keep their people in there anymore. They don't even have to be accountable for people. 40 years ago, they might have fired people just to save face, Matt, right? And got another one of their little minions in to take their place. They don't even do that anymore.
Yeah.
They don't even do that anymore.
And
it is the land grab. We know the Olympics are going there.
Yeah. This is not, just so you guys know, we didn't accidentally put up the Lahaina footage. This is Malibu. This is the aftermath of what happened in January. Just to let you guys know. And we've gone through this. We did a massive investigation. You guys are welcome to go back and see our coverage back in January, but it's just the overheads and just kind of putting it next to Lahaina and looking at the signs of DEWs, looking at signs of things that look a little off. And yet, and like I said, the opening of this segment of number 9, top censored news of the year, some people, we were told that they would look into this stuff. We were told Anderson Cooper, Rachel Maddow were going to get back to us. They're not getting back to us. They're not getting back to us about Lahaina either. We have to do our own work. We have to do our own investigation, and we need to do our best. And if you guys don't have to go out and do the work we're doing, but we need you to vouch for what we're doing, because the last thing we need is people tell us that it's too soon to look into things. Too soon. If it's too soon now, when is it? What, 25 years later? Is it time to start looking at 9/11 now for the first time? So we need to do the work now. Don't fall for this crap about the grieving victims. They don't want you look. Yes, they do. They want you looking into it. They're in fight or flight mode, so they can't do that work, but we can. So that's one thing that can come out of this year, 2025. And we learned our lesson early in the year. Just keep doing the work and don't wait on it. Just keep doing it. That's what we're about here.
Show up to your city councils.
Yep.
You get minute speaking. You show up. Your person can allot their time to you, so you get a 2-minute speaking time, right? At some of your city councils, some of them you get 3. Some of you get a minute and a half. Show up with 3 people. You get their speaking time, and you get to say what you want. Address them. Let them know that you know the incompetence that they are showing us, and that there needs to be accountability, right? Yeah. Even though they got the elections fixed, let them know that you're going to vote against them. You're not going to put them back in power. Let them know that you're going to show up next time at their house, on their doorstep, demanding accountability. Karen Bass was awful. Remember when Karen Bass got caught coming off the plane and the one guy was questioning her? She wouldn't say anything. Not a goddamn thing. It just shows you how stupid these people are they're putting in charge now. How dumb. So dumb that they wanted to put Kamala Harris in as president, or at least think that she was capable of doing it. So fall down fucking drunk, worse than Boris Yeltsin. They want to make her our president. Enough is enough. Let them know.
Karen Bass was dumb to not have something prepared, but it was another reveal moment that she was waiting for her handlers to tell her what to say. She wasn't able to ad-lib it on her own, unlike Newsom, who can do a little shoulder shake and make shit up. before he's given his new instructions.
But
by his
he's even
handler.
bad at it, Matt. Remember, he got
bad
caught
at
in
it
the
too.
street.
Yeah.
He got fucking looked like a deer with the headlights and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, Karen Bash at least said, listen, I know that you have some pressing questions and there's a lot of accountability out there, but I'm not taking questions. My concern is my citizens. Now get out of my face. Anything. She was just so quiet that, like you said, she's got to wait for her handlers to force feed her what she's going to say.
Yeah. I think she's afraid to say the wrong thing and then get reprimanded. That's what's really, so this isn't like whose line is it anyway, where you can just kind of improv and whatever happens, the audience laughs or they don't. This is your own career. This is your life. There are consequences if you don't say the right message at the right time. So she was just waiting at that moment and she didn't have the courage to ad lib. So maybe it's less about being stupid. It's more about being afraid. That's because she looked a little more afraid to me. Actually, when you look at it, she looked kind of.
I just think it's that they don't even give a shit. They're putting fucking idiots in position right now. They can't even fucking speak. I mean, they're putting the dumbest people in charge. You should see some of the fucking judges that Gavin Newsom appointed. Fucking idiots.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Nepotism.
Let's get on to the number 8 story. We're comboing this one because it's all connected, man. It's all connected, man.
Man.
Yeah, come on, man. You just gotta look at it.
That's all connected, man. Is it?
Go back and watch the movie 2012 with John Cusack. Woody Harrelson's character is so good. I think they were trying to do like a over-the-top spoof of a conspiracy theorist, but go back and watch it. There's some little nuggets in there where you're like, huh, there's something going on here. And Woody was perfect for the role. Go watch that one. It's a great one. But man, it's all connected.
Yeah. But dude, can I just send a shout out to Nature Boy who's watching the show? He's got his own show, Matt. You got to go on his show. He's got the same haircut as you.
He does.
He's got one of the best voices in the business. Nature Boy. He's a regular on Union of the Unwanted. Got his own show. Nature, make sure you drop a link to your own show out there and get Matt on your show. He'd love to come talk, man.
Yeah. No, I would love to. That sounds great. Yeah. Speaking of getting people on the show, we did tell Citizen he was championing Anthony Aguilar for us to get him booked here. We had a way to do that. We hope we can do it into the new year, but he reminded us again. So thank you, Citizen. He's like, you have to land Anthony Aguilar and Michael Rechtenwald on your show.
I can get Michael Rechtenwald.
You know,
we bumped heads a little bit. I once told Michael Rechtenwald, and once again, when Michael Rechtenwald was eliminated on the floor of the Libertarian Convention, he walked right off the floor, right to my camera and had an interview. I got him first before anybody else. And then I kind of had a little back and forth with him when he was using the term Jew instead of Zionist.
Right.
And so we went back and forth on that. Mike Rechtenwald has been accused of being an anti-Semite because he used the term Jew and not Zionist at times.
But let's be clear, you'd still be called an anti-Semite even if you use Zion. Just to be clear,
even if he got it right, to my liking.
It's not like you won't be called that. Like it's not like Miss Rachel wasn't considered for anti-Semite of the year because she said Jew. No, she said all children should have the right to not be blown up and not be hungry. How dare you, anti-Semite? So let's be clear on the name calling and its real purpose there. But yeah, words are important, and I do appreciate that. And we do look at our words here too because we want to get things right. And not.
But I'll reach out to Rechtenwald for us and get him on the show. I'll do that.
Beautiful, great.
That time we had a conversation because
love it.
I think somebody told me recently he went on Jimmy too as well. So
okay, great.
But I got a line to him, so I can get on him.
I think we have Jose Vega working on Anthony for us.
We gotta get Jose Vega back on.
He's a regular
There's
now.
The PSL guy now, I think, in that race too as well. So maybe we should have a debate because we know that Richie Torres won't show up, but at least we invite them, right? And Jose Vega and the PSL person, I'd love to do that. That would be fucking amazing. Yeah. So,
and I'll give a shout out. You said Nature Boy. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, we'll be in touch, Nature Boy. Thank you so much. And we'll keep the conversation going. Okay, moving on to the number 8 story. It's all connected, man.
It's all connected, man.
The big, beautiful bill ushered in Palantir, ICE, and the surveillance state, and nobody noticed. Well, not nobody, not you, but we know, you know what we're saying. Not nobody noticed on the mainstream level. We did because the mainstream had everybody fighting about Trump cutting all these programs versus let's get everybody on the left out in the streets for no kings. And there was, I don't remember, Craig, you remember? I don't remember any anti-Palantir signs in the streets during the ICE protests, during the Big Beautiful Bill protests, when King Trump, Emperor Trump was on those signs. I don't remember anything mentioned about Palantir. Well, maybe people never heard of Palantir. Maybe that was by design, but just so people know, people watch our show know, but that's what the Big Beautiful Bill was about. And this is the, just so you guys can see it for yourselves, ICE advances sole source deal with Palantir for new surveillance backbone. So ICE has been using the same technology that Palantir created way before Trump came in, way before. In fact, it's the same technology that was used during the COVID years. So we actually have a whole thing we did on that. You guys are welcome to go check on that. The Palantir technology was the way you kept governments and different state agencies were able to keep track of people during the COVID lockdown, which was mostly at the end of Trump's first term and then all through Biden's term. But also of note is that Palantir is the technology being used by Israel to murder innocent Palestinians on purpose, not accidentally, as Bill Maher would tell you was accidental. No, this is targeted killings, targeted database supercomputer. We know the whole thing. That's what this is about. Okay. And here's the indication. How do we get this done here? How do we get money funded into this moving forward? This, we know that the boom for defense, it's for defense startups from Trump's Big Beautiful Bill. And we did an investigation. Fiorella helped with that. Actually, she put a lot of work into trying to figure out how much of the Big Beautiful Bill was going to go to Palantir. It doesn't list it by name, but what she was able to do was figure out $360 billion was going to be allocated to a company like Palantir, which is the one that would get this money. We couldn't see the exact receipt on it for them, but we know, make no mistake, this is what we're dealing with the ICE raids. This is what we're dealing with all of this immigration, getting all the database of all these non-Americans. But guess what, Americans, you're in the database too. It's always been about keeping track of us. So don't think you're in the clear because you have a U.S. passport. You're not. Sorry, you're not in the clear. But that's what this is about. With that said, let's just take a little glimpse at, we've covered Alex Karp, this deranged nut job, has said the most insane stuff. The guy jumps all over the place talking about world domination. We don't get to hear too much from Peter Thiel. He's a little more important here because he's usually the spokesperson for Palantir. And he's asked directly about the technology being used in Israel. Watch him stutter. Watch him squirm.
What do you think about the use of artificial intelligence or lavender by the IDF in identifying Hamas targets?
Look, I'm not, without going into all the I'm not on top of all the details of what's going on in Israel because my bias is to defer to Israel. It's not for us to second guess everything, and I believe that broadly the IDF gets to decide what it wants to do, and that they're broadly in the right, and that's sort of the perspective I come back to.
Wow. So, I mean, luckily these questions are going to continue to be asked, but man, he just squirms through it, and the mainstream media won't cover this, obviously. Yeah, that's how we're connecting the dots right now with the technology, with the supercomputer stuff. I'm not sure if people fully understand how bad this is for Americans, because you have all the people on the right that were like, yeah, we're going to crack down on immigration and get all those illegals out of here, with no idea in their head that this was all about being used against you. Like, that's what this was about. And meanwhile, like I mentioned, the No Kings rallies, good-hearted people getting out there with their Trump wants to be the next Hitler signs, with no idea that this was what was being ushered in. And the Big Beautiful Bill needed to be, that was the thing that needed to be looked at. Obviously, cutting social programs is a big problem, but that is what this whole thing was about. And nobody was reporting on it, honestly. Pasta, where are we at now with this, since all this happened throughout the summer? I don't know if we're making, obviously we're not making steps in the right direction. We're still
Well, I mean, the big beautiful bill was just Build Back Better, right? It was once again how you said it's the Trump policy is the same as the Biden policy. Same hero as well.
Yeah,
exactly. It was just always getting the other side to commit to the area which they couldn't commit. Right. So we couldn't get a lot of these conservatives, these populist right people on a QR code because they didn't trust what was going on with Big Pharma and the shot. The way the Democrats kind of just stepped on up and put their shit on fucking camera on Instagram and whatnot. And as they got a shot, they got a QR code. While all the countries were coming together on vaccine passports, track and trace systems. Well, Catherine Austin Fitts said, well, they got to get the conservatives, right? And this is all to get people eventually on the CBDs or using the stable coins, right? Digital money, right? They want to be able to turn off or turn on or turn off what you can get. They want to control completely. That's what digital money is all about, whether it be through a CBDC, right? A central bank digital currency, or right now, another way they could do it is these stable coins, right? There's a controlling mechanism. So to do that, how do you get the conservatives on the grid? They had the real ID thing, right? That went through. A lot of people had to go get the real ID. They had that threat out there. That was under Donald Trump. Nobody said anything. Well, you get them to get the real IDs and get involved in the QR codes by threatening their livelihood and their elections with illegal immigration. So this thing we're seeing right now, this data collection, the surveillance, whatnot, it's all going to be tied into digital money. Digital money means control. That's what they want. They want complete control. That's what this big, beautiful bill, which is Build Back Better, just with lipstick on a pig. It's almost the same things. This is all about the security state and the banking controlling everything and the same oligarchs controlling the resources. Well, here it is with Donald Trump. Donald Trump could be listed as one of the worst presidents right now because he was able to get all these people who were so dead set against surveillance, who were dead set against censorship, track and trace systems, digital money. He's getting them all to just go along. And he's got his little minions out there, not just in the mainstream media, but in the alternative media, like the Benny Johnsons, the Nick Swarters, the Sean Fareshes. He's got that media now to push his agenda. It's not him. It's once again who he's working for. He has no power. He's just a face. But the Great Reset is upon us, right? So get ready. Like I said, a lot of people were saying, well, at least with Donald Trump and that Joe Biden will have less policies where they'll be cutting body parts and putting puberty blockers in our children. I'm like, yeah, that is true. But now that Neuralink, they'll start getting that advanced and quicker into your son's head nowadays because that's what's coming. The technocrats have had complete control of this administration from the get-go, and they still have control today. And you are voluntarily fucking stepping up and supporting it.
Everyone's volunteer. Both sides are volunteering now, right? Because you had the left that were all about the medical. We have to show our medical files to get into a restaurant. So they're like, yeah, medical ID, sure. Digital ID, sure. The right used to be against this. Now they got him. So yeah, Catherine Austin Fitts was exactly right. You got to get the other half of the country. It happened. It's done. And now AI is here. And if you guys didn't think that Biden was going to push the same thing, think again. This was always the plan. And now we have this White House unveils America's AI action plan. This was coming one way or the other. This is the technocrat takeover. Donald Trump is just the face. But this is real, guys. This is real. This is a new race, is winning, because we have to win the AI race, right? From the rest of the world. The way you do it is you bring in this action plan. And we covered this when this was first put out, I think a few months back. But this is the problem. And this is the part that the mainstream media won't tell you about. Well, that's weird. You think they'd want to make Trump look bad because that's been their job, right? That's the job of CNN, MSN, make Trump look bad. It's interesting the things they skip over and don't want to tell us about when that could be enough right there if they really covered it honestly. But there you go. That's it's all connected, man. It's all connected.
It's all connected, man.
Yeah. All right. Moving
We're
on.
Moving along. We are trucking along over here.
We're almost
here.
I
We
think
we're
we're
on a
only
roll,
back.
baby.
Kind of.
We're like Kobe and Luka.
Well, now we're going to bring in our third MVP, future Hall of Famer, to add into the mix here. We need three guys. We need the super team to win the championship this year. So I think we need to make we got Homeless Left has to make a trade, and we took care of a few bench players that weren't playing anyways, and we're ready to bring in our third future Hall of Famer. Please welcome back to the show co-host Jay Scott.
There he is.
Dwayne Wade reporting for duty, ready to show up and dunk on a few folks. And I will say, Allen Iverson is probably my favorite player, but he doesn't have any championships. And obviously, I'm a champion, so I'll have to go with Dwayne Wade for now. So still pretty good player. So yeah,
I'm a Patrick Ewing guy. Patrick Ewing was one of the greatest. Just didn't get the championship because he had Michael Jordan, right? So I mean,
that's true.
After 2 years, Michael Jordan took off to play baseball. The Knicks had a chance. They were in the finals, but John Starks decided to throw up a lot of air balls in Game 7, and unfortunately, we never got Patrick Ewing his ring and stuff. But this team right now, right? It's
you got something. You got something going. We're not mad at you.
The Knicks need a little bit of love, man. It's been a rough few centuries for the Knicks, I guess you could say. So
yeah, I could say it's been worse than the Jets. I don't know. I got the Jets too. But let me tell you something. This Knicks team, and I know Matt, he's a basketball guy, and Nico's a basketball. Nico's a Knicks fan too. This Knicks team, I don't know. It's just they, I haven't seen this level of specialness from a team, a Knicks team, with my own eyes, which I see from this team right now. Do I think they have the guts to win it all and the team to win it all? I really do think that this year, but injury is always going to play a part, and I don't know. I don't think they are one player away. I think they can win it with this squad right here, and it's something special. The Villanova Knicks. Jalen Brunson is a baller.
The Pistons proved to us it's really about team basketball. If you have the right team and the right chemistry, anyone could win the championship on any given year if you have the right chemistry.
Yeah, so, I mean, the Pistons told us that back in 2004, and they wanted to give the finals
one championship.
They wanted to give the finals MVP to all 5 starters, but they had to give it to the main dude, Chauncey
Big
Billups.
Ben Wallace. They gave it to Chauncey.
So he's enjoying his finals MVP right now. I think behind bars. Is that right? Or did I get that?
No, he is not behind bars. And they're not going to get him on that stupid bullshit, try to distract you with undercover card games.
All right.
Give me a fucking break.
It's not about it's not about the illegal It's not about the gambling. It's about if there was any rigging of the games. That's different. Why are we not talking? Okay, but we'll look at that some more next year. But I don't think it's going away, Craig.
That might be top 10 uncensored for next year, man.
For next year when it gets
gambling keeps going. But I forgot to send this to you, Matt. But I think a runner-up we should have found a way to sneak in here is, I don't know if you heard this, but as of I think yesterday, they're now making Freemasons declare their loyalties on the UK police force. So I thought that was really interesting news, and I think we should start doing that across our police forces here in America. Let's also include judges and politicians in that too. But I haven't heard of that before.
I'd love to see that. Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Yeah. Craig, and I'll tell people that missed our last show with Jay brought in some Freemason backstory, which we needed. We needed to see where those dots connect. And I recommend you guys go back and check. We just uploaded the segment, so you guys it's the Freemason kind of deep dive. What was the professor's name that covered this? Genius. This dude's amazing. Craig, if you guys haven't heard of him, he does old school lecture on the chalkboard, and he shows us the timelines of the Freemasons and how you had Zionism and Mormonism coming out in the same moment at the end of the late 1800s with the same philosophy. And you're like, wow. So it's
Well, here's the thing. He didn't bring that into it. I brought that into it.
You connected it.
But actually, Mormonism was talking about Zionism before Zionism was even a thing. And that's because they were founded by a Freemason. But anyway, a lot to get through. So we'll
I got a little run-in with Freemasons right now, so it's kind of like a touchy subject. So
it's a touchy subject.
And when Jay just said that all the judges and shit should declare, it's like, yeah, they should, because there's a lot of them hanging out there and people don't know, and they're serving each other, not the people.
Politicians, judges, police officers, I think, and I'm not even just targeting one group. I think if you're a member of any quote unquote secret society and you have a position of power, then you should declare that. So that's just my
I like that.
That's true.
Let's do it.
And then we're going to move on to our back to our countdown here, but first
Matt's trying to keep us on schedule today.
I'm trying to keep us on here because we want to make sure we keep the flow, so I don't have to cut. I don't want to cut this one up. This one stands as is, guys. It's all our top 10. No editing for this New Year's.
You're getting super chats, by the way.
But here's a citizen telling us that I wanted Jay to see this. because we were talking about how Jose Vega, Anthony Aguilar, maybe we bring them both on together if we can line that up. Jay, do you think that's a good idea? Citizen Padejo
I think so. I've been meaning to reach back out to him. We were supposed to connect, and just haven't gotten the time to reconnect with each other. But I'm going to bring that up. That's a great idea for sure.
Awesome.
So,
Okay.
Put his next tweet up real quick. There's next little shit up there. Talking shit.
The Peter Thiel? Is that
no, the next one. There's another one right after it.
Oh, yes. Here we go. My bad boys will take care of your Knicks pod.
No, they won't. No, they won't. Even though I'd say this much, the 4 people I think that right now are in the lead for the MVP are Cade Cunningham, Jalen Brunson, Wembanyama, and Jokic. I think those 4 right now are the head when it comes to the MVP of the league. Cade he's a bad boy. And it really is going to come down to the Knicks and the Pistons. And unless the Pistons make a crazy trade and get somebody that's going to put them over the top, I don't think they have the gasolina to beat the Knicks. I just don't think they do it. They're a great team, and he's one of the best players, Cade, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, I think we're all in agreement. I don't think anybody's saying that Pistons Knicks Eastern Finals isn't that seems like the most obvious thing we're going to have. So we'll see.
Trades can change everything.
Trades and injuries.
Giannis is like Giannis right now. If they cut him loose.
Trades, injuries, and arrests, because you never know about the third one.
Hey, man, Stephon Diggs is not here to protect himself.
Yeah, right. But on that note, let's. We gotta get shout out to Leslie on this.
For sure, man. How do you forget Les? What's wrong with you, dude? Come on,
yeah.
We're gonna start the new year off right. Let's
Happy early New Year from all of us. Hopefully, it's a better one for anybody who felt the rough and tough of 2025. We hope for a better one in the next one. But we're not holding our breath. It might be rough too, but let's just be stronger, wiser, larger as far as connections with good people, and we'll take it on strong. We'll take it on with courage and all that stuff we got to have. Okay.
Yeah. By the way, Matt, I think we should stick with the name that Citizen Pendejo gave us, and that's called the Big Three. We are the Big Three.
Makes sense. The original Big Three.
The original Big Three. Love it.
Love you, Jack.
That was Wade, Bosh, and LeBron who really made it up. I know I'm Wade. I don't know which one of you guys are going to be LeBron. Well, you live in LA, Matt, so I guess that would make
he loves LeBron, right?
It might have to be LeBron by default.
I'll be Chris Bosh.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's a good. Yeah, we got to do our walk on the stage with the smoke machines, right? The whole.
I would say the original Big Three though was both Magic, Olajuwon, and Worthy, and of course the Celtics.
It was Kareem, Magic, and Worthy.
Not Olajuwon. I'm sorry, Kareem.
Yeah. Kareem, Magic, and Worthy.
Yeah, Kareem, Magic, and Worthy, and the Celtics had their own Big Three too as well. I guess I don't know. It was Larry Bird and the rest of them. So.
Yeah.
But they coined the term though, when LeBron and Wade came over to South.
Yeah.
So,
well, that was the start of it then, right? That was the start of okay, now to do this, you're gonna have to have these people. I mean, I think when you saw a couple when what's his name went to the Houston Rockets, Clyde, when he went to the Rockets and stuff, you could say, all right, now if you can trade a big player, and everybody thought when Barkley went to Phoenix, it was gonna get them over the hump. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and the NBA is a little bit different nowadays. So
Yeah, very true.
Oh, and we have just to let everybody know, we'll have a fourth Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer coming and joining us in a little bit from now.
Sixth Man of the Year.
It's Duopoly Destroy. He's already sharing the stream. It's NIKO House. So we'll be seeing him soon. So that's awesome. If you guys are watching on NIKO's stream, welcome to the Homeless Left. We're in the middle of the countdown right now of top censored news of the year. Let's get into number 7. I think we're number 7, and I'm glad Jay's here for this one because he brought this one to my attention back in May, and it's still very relevant now, and the mainstream media still isn't covering it. Here it is. Number 7, a hidden mega city underneath pyramids of Giza confirmed by scientists. Let's take a look at this story. This is from UFO Mania. Just earlier this month, saying hidden mega structures beneath Egypt's Giza pyramids are confirmed by scientists. A team of Italian scientists took the world by storm last March when they announced the discovery of colossal underground complex plunging nearly 3,500 feet beneath Egypt's Giza Plateau and linking chambers the size of city blocks. And then Filippo Biondi, the radar engineer, developed the imaging method, has gone public with evidence that he said leaves little room for doubt. Here is, that's the shot outside. Now let's take a look at what's going on underneath. Here's the announcement from earlier when they came up with the discovery.
Are detecting with the satellite technology, in my personal opinion, were built before the pyramids.
The Sphinx is connected below by one shaft. All these facilities here are all connected together. It was, in my personal opinion, the most technological site that existed in that time.
It's like, if this is real, it's going to transform the world in a beautiful way.
If this is real, it's going to transform the world in a beautiful way. I hate to burst your bubble, innocent scientists who just want to bring knowledge and wisdom to the world. That's not true. It won't change the world because news outlets are going to make sure that it's brushed aside. Let's start with this fact check coming in here from AFP Fact Check. Large structure under pyramids. False. Just so all the readers know, this is official fact check publication. Scientists rubbish claims of giant structures underneath Egyptian pyramids. Online. See, there's it online, right? Online claims of large underground structures discovered under the pyramids of Giza are unfounded. Experts in the field say the assertions stem from, you guys are going to love this, a YouTube video. So YouTube video, that means it's not real.
Yeah.
Although everything's on YouTube, including whatever the hell they're citing, featuring 3 Italian researchers with no background in Egyptology or archaeology. Well, we're done looking at this one, guys, or are we?
You know, what they have a background in is using the technology that does the scans. So they did the scans and they identified these gigantic structures underneath the pyramids. And if you look at the height of it, it's actually about 10 times as tall as the pyramid itself. And these structures aren't found everywhere. They're specifically found underneath the pyramids of Giza. So if they were honest, they would be like, well, you know, we do need to excavate it a little bit to see what's under there. But of course, unfortunately, we don't really have a functioning democracy in Egypt at the moment. And the current government in Egypt, which is funded by, wait for it, USAID, but now those funds have been transferred around to the State Department. If you look at who funds the archaeology department in Egypt, it's the US government, funnily enough, as well as a few other NGOs. So they don't want to excavate it. They just want you to forget about the scans that we've all been shown. And, you know, I'm really happy that Pasta is here because you could use some of those Italian connections and maybe get us into the Vatican, because I am 100% sure they got some secrets locked up in there that they don't want to share with the rest of us, man. Because if you look at when the Library of Alexandria was burned down in Egypt back in the way, there's no doubt in my mind that a lot of those documents in there wound up in the Vatican. And that's why I personally think, I don't think Israel is Big Brother, Matt. I know you think Israel is Big Brother. I really think Israel is the front men for a larger organization. And they're the ones who they put all the attention on because they don't want you to think about everyone else in the background. But that's my opinion anyway.
It is true that Israel is more in the forefront of what's going on. And, you know, it's kind of obvious and evident that they control a lot of our Congress. It's, you know, it's right there in black and white what AIPAC and other Israeli lobbyists do, and the people can see that and know that. You know, it's kind of like, I think, a social engineering project to see how much we'll take, right? Like we opened the show to how much more will Putin take? They're attacking his fucking house. Well, how much more will we take? When we see Donald Trump up there going, thank you very much for the award and all this other stuff and all the money spent and everything else, you know, now he's in the, you know, this whole thing in what was dropped. And what was dropped, the 10% that was dropped in the Epstein files, whatever, and some of it, you know, kind of fingered him. I mean, how much will we take? You know, so I mean, it is a good question. But at the end of the day, what I continue to say with Matt, me and Matt kind of go back and forth on who's big brother, little brother, whatever, who's pulling the strings, who's zooming who. there's a lot of people still, a small 1%, a small percentage, but a decent amount of people overall that are controlling and benefiting from everything that happens, from the chaos that's scripted in our world and what we're told we have to fight for, stand for, believe in. So, I mean, there's a lot of people who benefit, not just Israel alone. But, you know, not for nothing, Jay, they've banished me from the Vatican a couple years ago, so I can't get back in, unfortunately. You know, so I'm shut out to get you any information on this stuff.
I mean, look, maybe it's worth a discussion about Big Brother, Little Brother, but that's not the meat of and potatoes. We have to, we don't want to spend too much time on that. We want to look at the alignment of the powerful entities and how their job is to protect themselves and pit us on each other. That's been the game plan the whole time. And you control these industries, and you do it our entire lives. Like we don't know a world without this control. That's the thing. Like we talk about, hey, how would we know a thing that if we've had a thing our whole lives, what would we know? What would it look like if we didn't have? It's hard to say if our education system was honest.
By the way, we've been raided.
We have been raided. Awesome.
We didn't say it. We're supposed to mention being raided. Put your hands up.
Yeah.
We've been raided.
We got the raid.
Two dissidents people are here.
It doesn't show up on StreamYard right away, but it looks like we got an awesome raid from Due Dissidents.
We got a party. So we got the post from NIKO's channel and Due Dissidents.
Russell and Keaton did a great job exposing Matt Taibbi and Michael Tracy's carrying of water for the people protecting, Epstein. I mean, really, to tell you the truth, it's embarrassing what Michael Tracy's putting out there nowadays. And the guy's a real smart guy. Yeah. And, he has a history of attacking the victims, and he's continuously doing that shit. He's doing it again. So great job by Keaton and Russell for pointing that out. A great segment. Russell took the lead on that one. But it was kind of a good segment because Keaton was so fired up and pissed off. He had to apologize twice for interrupting because he just wanted to say some shit. But that's what's going on, and it's so. I used to look at the Epstein stuff a lot harder than I do right now. I've kind of not stepped away from it, but kind of just said, all right, it's not going to be my main area of focus, because at one time it was a main area of focus because nobody on the left was talking about it, and I thought I had to talk about it. And it's dark. I had a lot of sleepless nights just looking at the stuff and understanding the stuff like that. But it's very obvious that when you look at everything as a whole and everything that's out there, you don't need it in black and white to say Epstein worked with the FBI, Epstein worked with the Mossad, Epstein worked with CIA. It was quite obvious that he was being protected from on high. And the fact that Mike Tracy is trying to twist that and stuff and kind of paint this picture about, Epstein only getting caught with 17-year-olds and 17 years and 2-month-old girls and whatnot. And, they were using our kids as currency. And those people are at the forefront of it, plain and simple.
It's the blackmail operation that's really like the big part of that story, and that's what they're missing. But it's not like Epstein is a huge player, but he's not even the only person doing that. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever done a deep dive into Richard Branson, but it seems like he could be another Epstein type figure, but apparently he is more for the oligarchs and the elite specifically, whereas Epstein seems to have been targeting a lot of politicians and executives. And then of course you had Diddy, who was doing his thing with the music industry in Hollywood. So there are all these different figures who were jumping in. But yeah, really quick, not to get too lost, just one last thing I want to say about that story. I want people to really think about how big that underground complex could actually be, because the size of it, that gigantic complex underneath the pyramids, is actually about 200 football fields, in square areas. So they have all these structures underneath the pyramids, and they're just kind of glossing over the story, covering it up, and Egypt won't allow us to actually do some real excavation under there. And it's the same thing that we see over in Göbekli Tepe, which is the oldest, ancient site that we know of. And we've only excavated, I want to say, like 5% of it so far. And what we found is that the deeper you go underground, the better the sculptures and the better the technology actually is, even though it's older. So, there are some big questions about our past that could be answered if we just did a little bit more excavation. And, of course, for those who don't know, the WEF is actually part of the management group for that site over in Göbekli Tepe. And where's the WEF based? Over in Switzerland. Now, Matt, we talked about Switzerland, in that last episode. But so not to be all over the place, but if we understand the past, my opinion is that can probably help us build a better future, because they seem to have different technology that we just don't understand right now. So imagine if we combine that technology with what we have today. What type of world could we have, guys?
And that's a world we don't actually live in, Jay. And I want to bring this point home, and I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer here, but the innocence of those scientists who told us what a great thing this discovery will be for the world. That's an innocent idea that we were taught as young, innocent students, that were told that we as a planet, that we work towards a better future, that when a big discovery is made, we implement it for the betterment of humanity. That's not true. It's the opposite. So a discovery like this is only going to jeopardize a preconceived narrative that keeps things in line. So they probably had this information already. That's the real reveal here, is that we didn't just discover this now. We discovered what the people running the planet already knew. They have to wipe it out. They have to get things back to normal, and they have to continue to control the narrative of our education system, so they don't have to reprint these books. Not because they're trying to save $1 on printing. It's because you keep control when you keep the narrative. You can't have that shift when we discover something. So we're not going to have that thing that we thought when we tap into something cool that could help everybody, not just understand technology better, understand where we came from, understand who we are and our place in the universe. We're not getting there unless we fight for it. It's not going to come naturally. That's my point.
Yeah, and don't forget, guys, Nikola Tesla's work was actually kept covered up by John Trump. That's Donald Trump's uncle. He was the guy who was entrusted with all of Nikola Tesla's work. And Nikola Tesla thought the pyramids were actually an energy generator. So fun fact that kind of connects Trump to this story too. So
all right. Well, coming in for top censored news of the year, guys, if you're just joining us, we're heading to the closer up to the top of the list. We still got 6 more for you. We're before we bring, actually, let's go ahead right now. And because he's here, he's ready to go. We're talking about another future Hall of Famer MVP.
Baby.
Let's add him in. Here we go, guys. You know him. He's been on the show before. Please welcome back NIKO House.
What's going on, everybody? And we on top of day, right? We good, man. We good.
We're pretty good. I think we're 1 story behind, but we'll play catch up. And if you guys are down, all of you guys, let's just go at it together and get through these last ones here.
Yeah.
But
can I send a special love to the 6th man of the year back in 2017? 6th man of the year, NIKO House, took a chance on me and Fiorella by letting us take our new show and also dual stream it on his Mikasa Sukasa network. And I'm here today because of this man. He was the first guy to give me a hand and lift me up and say, come on, dog, get on this train with us. And we're still rolling to this day, 2025. We're going into 2026. I love you, NIKO House, and that's why I say you're the 6th man of the year, baby.
Yeah. I love you too, but I'm on an all-star team. Where the hell does 6th man of the year come from?
Yeah, what is this?
On this show, right?
No, okay. Well, I'll take
with a big 3, you're the 6th man of the year. Come here.
No, I don't. Okay. No, I'm upgrading. I see like a starting 5 when you have the 4 Hall of Famers in a starting 5, where the 5th guy's lucky to be in the group, whoever that is. But we got our 4 here. This is like Lakers 04 again, right? You got Gary Payton, you got Karl Malone, Adam with Kobe and Shaq. You got 4 out of 5 Hall of Famers going out on the court.
I don't want to be Karl Malone. Can I put that on record? I do.
You don't want to be the mailman?
Fair enough.
Karl Malone eats squirrel. By the way,
Karl Malone name to come up. Shit.
Karl Malone eats squirrel. Who's the MVP of the NBA so far this year?
Shea. That's not even close.
Who?
Shea Gilgeous.
No, for real. Who's the 6th man of the year?
The 6th man?
I mean, I'm sorry, the MVP. Go ahead, go.
No, it's Shea. It's SGA.
Come on, man. Seriously now.
Like, I want to say Jalen Brunson, but he was.
You better believe it's Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, I want to, like, obviously I want him to be the MVP, but because of the injury, like, he's playing catch up to SGA, who is they're like 28-5, and they've only 3 they've lost to the Spurs. So the only person who's in competition with him
Knicks
right now.
have only lost 9 games.
Yeah, But that's another problem. We only lost 9 games. He was out for a lot of the season.
Not a lot, just a little bit. He
Yeah,
lost
that's
like a week and a half stretch. That's it. He was still the MVP of the Emirates tournament right now. It's got to count for something, right?
Oh, no, it didn't count for the MVP towards the MVP the first time. So like
this time it's different because Jalen won it. So,
hey, I will say this time could be different because Jalen won it and he's in New York, and they really want New York to be a good team. That's like a real thing. So
Mecca basketball, baby.
But I will say this though, if SGA loses because what the situation with the Thunder and the Spurs is problematic for SGA's MVP chances, specifically because Wemby's in direct contention for MVP as well. And so if SGA loses 4 times back to back to the Spurs, then and the Knicks keep on with this trajectory, Jalen Brunson could very well be the MVP. He could very well just.
It's between Shea, Jalen, Wemby, and I said Jokic. Jokic's not in the running. Cade Cunningham, I think, is the other guy who's in the running right now.
Cade is going nuts.
Yeah,
he's going crazy right now.
We got to get on with the show. Matt's giving me this look. We talking basketball, but Matt is a basketball fan. I'm sorry, Matt. I apologize.
No, it's not for me. It's for the viewers. They tune in for top censored.
You know what? You haven't gone through being a goddamn Knicks fan for the last 15, 20 years and never having anything to talk about, okay? We're going to revel in it
That's
when
fair.
we got opportunity.
That's fair. Last time you were relevant was during the OJ chase, right? I'm just kidding.
No,
but that was
it was whenever we had
right?
J.R. Smith and Carmelo. That was like the last time we were actually when we had Insanity. We like had this stretch, but then the Heat kept busting our ass and we kept getting hit with injuries in the first round of playoffs. So, but like that's the last time we were actually relevant. Now we're legit. We're legit.
At least we didn't hear the name Allen Houston. So let's get going with the top censored news over here.
Okay, here we go, guys. We're at the number 6 story. What we're saying, the mainstream media refuses to cover these stories. If they do it always in a dishonest way. And that's why we do top censored news of the week. And why right now, top censored news of the year coming in at number 6. Trump set to topple Maduro, control Venezuela oil and minerals on behalf of Israel's. And by the way, the Dems won't stop it because they're in on it too. Let's look at the latest that just broke in the last 24 hours as Trump with his best friend, big brother, little brother, it don't matter. They're partners in crime, Netanyahu, and he's asked about the Venezuela situation. Here we go.
More about the explosion in Venezuela that you mentioned in the radio interview. Did the military do that? Can you share more details about
Well, it doesn't matter, but there was a major explosion in the dock area where they load the boats up with drugs. They load the boats up with drugs, so we hit all the boats, and now we hit the area. It's the implementation area. That's where they implement, and that is no longer around.
Is that one of these strikes that the U.S. has done?
I don't want to comment on
that. Hold up.
He's doing the caricature of himself. Yeah.
Bro, this motherfucker is the implementation area. That's where they implement.
How do you implement drugs? Like, that's where they do take the drugs? Like, what does he mean? This is where they implement the drugs. Like, come on, sir. Like, yo, learn how to speak English, man. But he really does have a 4th grade vocabulary.
Yeah.
Yo, he just learned how to work with friends. Like, you can't convince me otherwise. He's like, yeah, we about to throw this shit in the interview today. That's where they implement stuff. It's the implementation area.
And he's stuttering through this, still trying to keep the drug narrative going, still making it about this. We're stopping the drugs from coming in. None of that. There's still his base that believe this garbage, still think that fentanyl is being made in Venezuela. We know it's not. We know it's about the oil. Even the Nobel Peace Prize winner, Maria, we call her Maria Coronavirus Machado. She's telling us it's about the oil. But what we're seeing here is it's more than just capturing the oil and the minerals, the gold, all these different elements that we'd love to get American company hands on. There's more going on. And we covered you guys that Lindsey Graham in Tel Aviv paid for a trip to go there and broadcast from Tel Aviv and tell us what is actually happening there and why we're actually doing this.
Another big conflict, Venezuela. This week, in a call with me, President Trump didn't rule out the possibility of a war with Venezuela. Overnight, we saw the United States intercept another oil tanker. President Trump promised to get America, as you know, out of foreign wars, not start new ones. Would he be going against that promise if he did, in fact, go to war with Venezuela?
I mean, yeah.
Absolutely not. If you're an American and you want Maduro to stay in power, man, have you lost your way?
Have we lost our way from a guy who's on the dime of U.S. taxpayer money through Israel and his handlers who set him up in Tel Aviv to broadcast to us why we need to take out Maduro? And what do we do when we take out Maduro? We implement the person that will be controlled by our establishment, which is not just the U.S. Imperialist machine, it's Israel's machine, and that would be Maria Coronavirus Machado, who is 100% pro-Zionist and will help with Israel's their plan, and what they need is to have that relationship back, which they haven't had for the last two presidents dating back through Chavez. And so that is what's really happening here, I believe, and the mainstream obviously is not covering this. NIKO, are you seeing that is a big part of this from your vantage point, or is it mainly just let's just get the oil and that's where we're at?
Well, I mean, I feel like it can all be broken down to let's get the oil, but like I feel like you have to expand the picture as to why getting the oil is so important, because we have to remember we do manufacture so much of our own oil right in the U.S., right? We are partners with the UAE still. We do have a controlling interest regarding the Middle East and even a lot of Africa still, even many parts of South America still. So it's like, okay, why is Venezuela so important? Well, the reality is oil actually isn't all that important anymore. Like it's on the way out. So what is replacing oil right now, ladies and gentlemen? Lithium.
Mm-hmm.
However, there is like this weird window that we're in right now where if you have the power and the ability to control the oil markets, which not only requires you to have oil, but also requires you to be able to control the ability for other people to sell oil and refine oil, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, then you actually have a better chance, in my opinion, of taking off in the lithium market. And right now, China is running the lithium market. Well, who damn near has more control, or at least as much control over oil or potential oil gold mines than the UAE in Middle Eastern countries? Russia. And whose side are they on? And whose side is China on? Russia's. And let's remember, who has the 15-year deal that they just extended with Venezuela? Russia. The factory that was bombed, Russia had just started refining oil, or started taking the steps to refine oil in that particular factory. And it was bombed like a week. I'm not even joking. It was a week later.
Yeah. I think
go ahead.
I think it's a sphere of influence. You know, I think you're touching on it right there, NIKO, because if you look at another thing that both Venezuela and Nigeria have in common, two places that Trump is bombing at the moment, they're both key parts of the Belt and Road Initiative. And they're both, getting more and more involved in BRICS. In fact, if you look at the countries in Africa, Nigeria has received the most investment, from China. Over the past few years. And, now that we're about to take this L over in Ukraine, I think, Trump is trying to reassert, American sphere of influence in this hemisphere, and getting, BRICS out of Venezuela is probably a big part in that. So I think they actually really want to set an example for the rest of South and Central America and the Caribbean. Just to remind everyone, don't forget who's the big dog in this atmosphere. And then not to mention, we all know where Marco Rubio comes from. And if you disrupt what's happening in Venezuela, you could actually put the energy sector in Cuba under a lot of pressure, because they get a lot of their oil from Venezuela.
I have to make one caveat. We do have to remember, unfortunately, Lula stopped Venezuela from becoming a part of BRICS. He actually didn't even do it himself. He actually sent somebody to represent him and vetoed it with Brazil's veto power. However, BRICS is still relevant because Russia showed that if it is in the interest of Russia specifically, and of course the global South, and if it could hinder the United States' influence and dominance, they have stopped giving a fuck. They're like, we're not gonna wait for BRICS. We're gonna handle ourselves. Because that deal that was made with Russia came after they were vetoed out of BRICS. And and the moves that are happening with Iran, they're helping they're giving weapons to Venezuela. We don't even know, by the way, that's one of the reasons I don't believe the US could win. Because the US has made this dire mistake time and time and time again. And these exceptionalists who they think they understand just how powerful the US actually is compared to other militaries. We've made this mistake where we think we know what weapons the country has, and then you fuck around and find out. Israel made that mistake just recently too with Iran. They were like, oh, we got this. Then they hit them with that hypersonic. They was like, whoa, we didn't know. Okay, so with that much oil on the line, how powerful are the weapons that Iran and Russia are giving Venezuela, especially when Venezuela has already invested billions in Venezuela's oil refinery?
Yep, good point. And, you know, I meant like the BRICS countries, not necessarily BRICS as an organization, but Russia and China are arguably two of the most dominant forces in BRICS, and both of them have connections in Venezuela. But yeah, all good points.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the connection here with Israel or the gold or lithium or any mineral for that matter?
You know, Venezuela does have crude oil, so you know that oil is valuable too as well. But I do have to kind of agree that it's not just about oil. I don't believe it's still becoming, you know, it's a thing of the past. I just think there's other avenues to it, you know. And I think the United States has enough oil for themselves and refined enough oil within their own country that they really don't need that other oil. I think it's more about China also controlling the rare earth minerals, lithium and all the other rare earth minerals that we need, the cobalt, the nickel. And that's why we see what's going on. Hey, Merry Christmas to everybody. We bombed Nigeria, Somalia, and Venezuela on Christmas Day. I think it has a lot more
Trump
to it.
Trump told us it was coming.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part, Pasta. It wasn't like he was hiding shit. He's been saying it for the last month.
The Pope from Chicago, right? And he said to give everybody free Lou Malinauti's pizza if we don't bomb anybody on Christmas. But we couldn't even do that. We had to go bomb him, even though the Pope said, please. That's why I got no lines to the Vatican anymore. He asked for peace on Christmas. Didn't happen. But the rare earth minerals are a thing. And, Niko, I've been meaning to reach out to you, too, as well, about the work you've been talking about, what's going on in Nigeria, where people don't understand what's going on, the work in Somalia. Yeah. People have to understand this. For the future, it is those rare earth minerals. And China is leading the way. Not only is China leading the way, they have a more cleaner way of extracting these rare earth minerals, unlike the West, which just pollutes and dirties the areas. But I also think, too, as well, when we talk about BRICS and what's going on, we talk about a lot of the stuff going on with the Bolshevik Revolution, right? The reason why I believe the Bolshevik Revolution was a class revolution is because the bankers never got in, right? All these people talking about Jews killing Christians, they didn't get in until 91. They didn't. The IMF didn't become a member.
Didn't they help to fund
the IMF didn't get in until 1992 is when the IMF got into Russia.
No, but weren't their bankers already backing Trotsky, like in the beginning?
In the very beginning, in the first Bolshevik Revolution that went away, and then 8 months later, the second Bolshevik Revolution, when they had shed themselves of all the Western bankers and whatnot, they didn't get in. The IMF wasn't an official member until 1992. So
you're talking about whenever Stalin kind of considered himself.
They were on their own grid, right? I think that's what this is all about. When we look at what happened in Syria. We had Jelani come. Now we have a bunch of jihadists running, real jihadists running, and people are crying about Mandami. They have him actually running Syria. When he came to America, where did he go day 2? To the IMF. They want in all these countries. The monetary system wants to control. So they're looking at Nicaragua, Honduras. They're looking at Venezuela and Cuba. Some of those areas they haven't been able to get back in. They want it back. They want the industry back. I think Venezuela is part of that whole situation. Also, too, my last comment is I do believe this is also about punishing a nation in a country that stood for the Bolivarian Revolution, right? To let the leaders and the oligarchs letting people know about national sovereignty. Hey, you might have it, but don't ever step out of line. I believe that's why we have such a thuggish attitude towards Haiti, and we're trying to do the same. They represent the Bolivarian Revolution, and I think that also, too, the West wants to let them know that that's another thing, that don't think that you can have your own national sovereignty ever again. we're going to say what you can do on the global market.
One point
That's part of what's
one
going
point
on.
of information, Pasta. I would still say that either there were like two separate Bolshevik revolutions.
Yes.
The ultimate goal of the Bolshevik revolution by the bankers was to how do you say it? Like basically to get rid of the royal family because it would be harder for a Soviet Union or a Russian Empire to maintain unity under one banner. So that the goal was to ironically democratize Russia so that it would be easier then to what's the word? My Portuguese is coming in. I can't remember the word. You know the word I'm talking about. When you separate all the states.
You talking about balkanized or
balkanized? Thank you.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, well, that was the ultimate. That was the ultimate goal, which would have been impossible to do with the royal family still in power. So, was the Bolshevik Revolution eventually legitimate? Yes, but I would argue that like Stalin coming in, he almost recognized, okay, now it has to be legitimate because what they have just done could lead to the end of Russia if we don't figure out a way to unite under one banner again. And he actually was able to maintain that unity. That's why after World War II, like we all know, fucking CIA killed him. Like I don't give a damn about that heart attack bullshit. That's not real. The CIA killed him. The CIA actually came before the KGB, and people don't know that, but it happened. And the KGB came 2 years later, and it seemingly was only invented to figure out who the fuck was responsible and how many people had from the West had infiltrated the government. That's basically what it seemed like. So,
check your microphone, by the way. People are saying that your microphone's a little bit low, so make sure you have it on. It's not your computer microphone that's plugged in. Since it's a little hard to hear, Nico.
Sorry, just to add one last thing to the Venezuela thing, by the way. I think it's also the fact that they identify themselves as a socialist country. And even though you have a lot of socialist policies across Europe, the fact that they identify themselves like that, I'm pretty sure the powers that be want to make sure that, citizens in their countries don't think that we can have a successful socialist country. So they'll prop up a libertarian country like Argentina, but they cannot let a country that labels itself as socialist to ever succeed and to have a good economy, because you got to keep maintaining that image that socialism is the devil. So I think
there's one
libertarian.
Libertarian, right? There's one exception we can make for elevating a socialist country, one that we're paying for, like Israel. Because
they don't call themselves socialists. No, you're right.
But no, I'm saying we actually pay for their health care. We pay they get. I mean,
education
there also was one other exception, which I feel like still needs to get readdressed, which is China. I mean, was it like NAFTA is the reason China is now probably the most powerful country in the world, right? And I think that it is somewhat of a mystery to most Americans. I have my own personal theories as to why that is, but just, I don't want to get into it right now, but China is the only reason China is probably the most powerful country in the world right now is because America, despite their, super anti-communist rhetoric and mindset, and also China's extremely anti-capitalist mindset, right? They deals with their own devils, and I mean, China came out on top. So that, and so I still believe that kind of, at some point, as much as, when we're comparing China to the U.S., we know there's not really a comparison overall, but it still has to get reconciled because we need to know why those deals were done and who they actually benefited at the end of the day, because I think that a lot of people might be surprised.
Well, in the West, we brand China as an authoritarian country that embraced capitalism to open up its markets. Like if you hear how they describe it in the West, a lot of times they don't even really call it communist or socialist. They'll call it an authoritarian capitalist country because they've opened up their markets now. So
yeah, they have to call it that now, but like they, it's, and if they do that, it's once again but China openly brands itself as communist. And you're correct, they will say authoritarians, capitalists, and then right after that mention the CCP, but not actually call them communists, like the Communist Party. They won't call it the Chinese Communist Party, call it CCP. So it's like, okay, so y'all are aware that they do call themselves communists. So what's the difference between China and the U.S., or excuse me, Venezuela, for example? Like, why is it that a full-blown communist country isn't a problem to work with, but Venezuela is? And and China had all of the tools to be better than you. You knew they were going to outpace you. You were giving them all the tools, giving them all the experience, giving them all the connects, and forcing them to integrate within its Western capitalist economy. And then I don't understand what they thought was going to happen at the end of the day. But China knew, clearly. And so I do feel like that has to be, there should be some deep diving into that, because, I mean, at the end of the day, Xi Jinping, for some reason, was praised by Henry Kissinger, and I will, never really forget that. And the fact that he, has these connections to Yale that no one really likes to discuss, too.
But
so
Henry Kissinger was a Nobel Peace Prize winner, Nico, so that should be a good thing that we celebrate, right?
But I do believe that we really do have to unpack that at some point. But I do believe that the threat from the U.S. and the West and Israel is so grandiose at this moment that whatever that reason is can wait, because China isn't going into people's countries and fucking assassinating leaders and killing children and creating false flags after basically openly threatening a prime minister, saying, hey, bitch, you're too anti-Semitic and anti-Israel for us. If you don't stop, something might happen.
Yeah,
oh,
I
shit,
warned you.
Something happened. I warned you.
I warned you. I warned you back in August.
You warned me.
What?
Did y'all see that story that just came out about the donors meeting from Charlie Kirk? One of the first questions they asked him, the one that Bill Ackman was in back in August, one of the first questions they asked him was, hey, what would happen to your organization if something bad happened to you? That was one of the first questions they asked him. And Megyn Kelly was asking Erica Kirk about, was it Megyn Kelly? Someone was asking Erica Kirk about that on stage, and she just completely glossed over that part and then went along with the conversation.
Oh, she didn't even gloss over. Who glossed over it, Megyn or Erica?
No, Erica Kirk. She didn't really answer that part, because my thing is that would be the part I want to talk a little bit more about. But she
was the one who said it. If I'm not, the news was only breaking news because Erica said it as if it was something normal to say in a meeting like that. It
was Erica?
It was Erica. It was Erica. It was their
That's
interview,
but
but it was Erica who said it. And she was like, they even asked, what would happen? Because, Erica says everything like it's the biggest fucking deal in the world. This woman is the worst actor in the world. I promise you, y'all, if I didn't believe in MK Ultra before, I believe in that shit now. I'm not, if I didn't believe they were still continuing it, I believe they are now. I'm not even, I tried to actually disassociate from this idea because I wanted to stay, I wanted my analysis from Erica to be based on facts and reality. But the reality, motherfucking, is she moved to Arizona. Her mom is part of military projects, numerous, from whether you want to talk about Israel or just in the US. But then it's the fact that there's this weird, this gaping hole from her being at one university and then ending up at ASU. And there's not really an explanation as to why she transferred.
That's best case scenario though, MK Ultra, because worst case scenario is she's just kind of in on it and has been part of the whole planning of that process. And she knew what she was there for from the start. That's worst case scenario.
Well, the MK Ultra would be that.
Best case. So.
Yeah, but I feel like she would have been better prepared. Exactly. That's what I think. At this point. Exactly. That's where I'm at with it.
Both are possible.
She glitches.
She glitches. Yeah.
You don't see. You don't feel like she'd be glitching?
No, when she didn't have her monitor up there, and I don't know what we're gonna have to ad lib it, guys. And then she had nothing. She couldn't say anything. She couldn't even say, "Hey, it's been rough. Thanks for being here for me. I've been dealing with some hard stuff, as you guys know." She can't do anything. She stands there. But the glitching with all the talking to the guests. Oh my God, Jay and I covered this on last week. But my God,
and you know what part really seems programmed? Right after he died, she would always do this soft thing at the end of sentences. She was trying to make sure that you felt so. I don't know, man. It was
when
so
every
weird.
single as a public speaker, guys, when every single sentence is impactful, equally impactful, not a single sentence is impactful.
As an actor too, you can't. Not every single effing line is your trailer moment or Oscar moment. You have to have that. Yeah. So she's in total over the top soap opera mode all the time, and that's why.
The perfect description. Thank you, Matt.
It's
That is a
soap opera.
damn word. It's soap opera. It's novella shit.
She's actually good as a soap. She would be good on a telenovela. Absolutely. Like, oh,
she would.
Hey, my favorite soap's on. Oh my god! And she's like, oh, yeah. That's Erica Kirk. Okay,
bro. You know,
let's work into the audition.
Let's get back
right now.
All right, let's get back to the topic. Can we? Because we will have some Erica Kirk.
We were talking about Venezuela. We ended up on fucking Erica Kirk.
We're gonna wrap up.
It's always back to Israel, right? Shit. So
it all comes back to Israel. We should have just called the show that.
Always comes back to the Vatican.
But to wrap up number 6, Israel or no Israel, oil or no oil. The big takeaway for anybody who just started to now pay attention and they're noticing that Trump's policy might be familiar of our policy for the last several different administrations, and it hasn't really changed. And I think the biggest red flag should be that the media won't tell you that Trump has broken any sort of law and that we need to push for a impeachment. And if you're not seeing that, then you understand the entire thing was fake. And the only thing you're going to impeach him for are stupid little things that aren't actually this. And that it would be easy to do. They're not doing it. The media covers it up, and the Dems aren't stopping it. The only thing they're complaining about is he double tapped too hard on that last boat. And we don't like the fact that we only wanted the 9 people to be killed, but he killed the other 2, and we have a problem with that. So it's the same policy, guys. It's the same policy. It's just fake arguments about how to go about it. That's all.
Matt, to your point, my question to all Democrats, to all liberals, to anybody who's considering voting for Democrats, my question would be, why aren't you right now, as the midterms are coming up, why aren't you campaigning on impeaching Trump?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Why aren't you catching this fucking alley-oop once again? It's an alley-oop to Wimby.
Well,
it's
they
an alley-oop
Wolf.
from John Stockton to Wimby.
Except Wimby has blood clots, so it's not. He's not
took the jab, right?
They cried wolf one too many times. That's a big part of what's going on. They already impeached him in the last term over some small shit, and they didn't follow it all the way through. So
the thing is, this time is slightly different because Trump has the same he's rivaling George W. Bush right now in popularity, or lack thereof, rather. Right? There is like a majority of Americans, I would argue, do not support war with Venezuela. They do not support the amount of support we're giving and the aid we're giving to Netanyahu. They don't support war with Iran. Hell, a lot of them don't even support what's going on in Nigeria, right? So it's like the Democrats have cried wolf one too many times. And this is your time to redeem your dumbass self. And you still... I'm not going to call it dropping the ball, because that would insinuate that they're not doing this on purpose, right? That they're not ignoring what's happening on purpose. There hasn't even really been enough discussion about how much they've been hiding the Epstein files, right? Or rather, how much Democrats have gone along with Republicans hiding the Epstein files. Even though there have been some that say like, hey, man, we need to impeach Bondi if she's not going to actually play ball, because it's kind of making all of us look bad. But like, how far they would take that, I don't know, because the majority of Democrats are really discussing it, right? They're not discussing that possibility. But like, even with this situation with Netanyahu, once again, just as a brief aside, like we know that Israel partook in whatever the hell went down in Bondi Beach. We know. It's like Netanyahu was all but claiming credit for it, basically. And the Democrats, I mean, what can we do, guys? So it's like we're witnessing the Democrats fold to Trump in ways that we've never even imagined.
Yeah.
Like, and it's a layup. Here's a layup that you can, hey, man, you shouldn't be able to declare war, commit international acts of terror like that. And it's easy, but they're not doing it.
Yeah. Well, because they're part of the same problem, working for the same team, paid by the same donors. I mean, people don't forget, Barack Obama's policies towards Venezuela were very hostile. This has been going on for years, ever since the Chavistas took power. Let's not also forget, during Barack Obama's term, Madam Secretary cooed Manuel Zelaya. So they've had their hostilities towards Latin America, just like Matt said, they try to kind of frame it in a different way. What they're doing is wrong. We have to find a different way to take out Maduro. No. Look at Mondami's comments that got him in the most trouble when it comes to him being a socialist. What he said about Diaz-Canel, what he said about Nicolas Maduro. The Democrats are the same. They've never been any different than, you know, the Republicans. And the big story that we're missing over here, too, as well, with two stories, when you talk about Israel, Israel has a lot of contracts, military contracts, in fact, in El Salvador, right, for selling weapons, whatnot, and training. The IDF goes and trains in Latin America's and these puppet governments. So they want to get part of the oil and the resources that are there too as well, but they want to get the contracts within the military once America takes over. And the big story that when nobody's talking about, it's more of the same. The years of the coup d'etats that we've had in Latin America, how people are not looking at this and seeing this. If you're a Republican, if you're a conservative, hey, you really want to stop immigration? Well, this is the #1 cause of immigration to the United States. It's our hostile mentality, putting up bases. It's not we're renting out a base. It's an occupation. This is what's driving migration to the border. We make sure these countries are destabilized as much as possible. We can extract the resources for pennies on the dollar, for us monetary loans on them from the IMF that once again are austerity measures, meaning the people have to pay for them, and that's why so many people come here. That's the real story that's not being talked about. It's the same old foreign policy as before.
Look at Somalia. I mean, it's once. By the way, I just find it absolutely hilarious that all of a sudden, after what, like almost 30 years, y'all actually give like Republicans and Democrats, y'all actually realize that there are Somalians in Minnesota. I can't believe that y'all just now.
They didn't know that.
Like, I'm like, holy shit, y'all just now? What? There's no way that y'all. And, okay, I get it. I like, let me go ahead and look at what's going on in Somalia. Oh, they're trying to look for an excuse to bomb the shit out of them. So let's demonize the ones here. Let's all of a sudden start act like we care about Ilhan Omar again. And while they're doing it, they don't know that there's generals in Somalia talking about we need to hire military presence there and we need to bomb them more, which obviously would inevitably cause what? Mass migration. Yeah. Obviously. Yeah. And where will they go? We know where they're going to go because they're already here. The problem is that you're then going to turn around and blame Somalians who are being bombed out of their country and be like, that country is so corrupt. It's their fault it's like this.
Yeah. Just stand there and let the bombs drop on you. Why would you try to step out the way of the bombs? You're just supposed to look up and wait for the bombs to land on top of you, man. Like, and if you don't do that, then you're just trying to invade us and conquer us. And you know, the crazy thing is that they don't come to America; they'll go to Europe or they'll go somewhere where it's safer. And then people think, oh, it's a plot by these people to invade Europe and America, to erase people. Like, they're just trying to step
Operation
out of the way.
Phoenix. That's what they're saying. It's like Operation Phoenix, which, by the way, was from Tavistock that took the work from MK Ultra, did a lot of that work, and said, all right, we know how to control an individual. How do we can control a society? That's what Tavistock is doing, Operation Phoenix. That's what they're saying. They're leaving out the foreign policy imperialist aspect. And let me just say this much real quick, and I'll pass it back on to the panel. If you care so much about the fraud that's taking place in Minnesota with all the Somalia people, but you don't give a damn about Somalia being bombed 130 times this year, you need to get your fucking priorities checked.
Yeah, or like any other years that they were bombed, like because it didn't even the first year. But like also, y'all, you really want to confuse a Trump supporter or a Republican? Ask them why Trump didn't have anything to say about Somalia his first time being president. What? Because they didn't just move to Minnesota like yesterday.
Yeah,
but I was actually surprised when I flew through. I had to go. Where was I going to? Chicago, and I stopped in Minneapolis, and I was like, holy shit. There are nothing but Somalians working in this airport. When the hell did they move here? And I was legitimately surprised, but I was more surprised that no one had ever mentioned it. And I just remember how much Trump had focused on immigration at that point, but never mentioned Somalia. It's like the government had this secret deal, which is obviously what happened. They had this secret deal with Minnesota to hide Somalians away in Minnesota when they came over. That's basically what happened. All these, there's not. I don't really believe that there's massive rampant fraud happening to the degree that the U.S. government is claiming that it is. I believe that they might be finding more than they would otherwise find because they're focusing on Somalians more. But if they focus on every other demographic more, they'll probably find equal amounts of fraud, if not more.
Okay.
Yep.
You want to, guys? You want to?
Yeah,
move
sorry.
on?
One last thing.
Okay, last
Rick
point,
Scott,
Jay.
yeah,
Wrap it up. Okay.
Rick
Final
Scott,
thought.
he's been found guilty of fraud worth much more than the total fraud that people are accusing of the Somalis on now. And he is a senator. The man pled the fifth 75 times in court. That means he said no comment 75 times in court, and he's still in American politics right now. So I'm all for prosecuting fraud and getting rid of criminals, but let's get rid of criminals in Congress too. That's my opinion. So
hey man, on that shit. I'm like, all that y'all so interested in fraud. Just hang out in DC. You ain't gotta bust people all the way to Minnesota to investigate it. Just catch a bus right there, catch the metro right to Capitol. You'll be all right.
There you go.
Well, speaking of nobody going to jail, that leads us to our next story on the top censored news of the year. Coming in at number 5. I wish this was higher on the list, but there's obviously other things we need to get to after this. But this, in another world, this would be the number 1 story because it affects so many people globally. Turns out we discovered this year, coming in at number 5, the MAHA movement was all theater.
Oh man, Jay's gonna be pissed.
I know, isn't he? We're all pissed.
Hey man.
I was standing out at the farmers market,
all
collecting signatures, telling people about RFK. But here's the thing: NIKO knows how it feels because
Pasta do too, man.
Yeah, because you went through it with Bernie and them, and
Tulsi.
Back to back.
Tulsi. There you go. And
I thought Bernie was taking on Big Pharma.
I did my pen in the company ink of MAHA before it was MAHA. I marched in July 4th parade with the Medical Freedom Movement, which a lot of them were from the Children's Health Network, which became the leaders of the MAHA movement. By the MAHA movement coming, I was already fuck y'all Zionist motherfuckers by then. But so I was kind of remember, I was out there for RFK. The only reason why I got some form of reciprocity is because I questioned RFK on his stance in person, and people were like, all right, at least Pasta's going to fucking ask him the tough questions. And that shit went viral when that was before October 7th, when he said, oh, I stand with Israel and all this bullshit. I just didn't know he was that much of an uber Zionist as he was.
He wasn't actually, which is a whole different thing. But when I was at RT, I had to fight with producers so I could go cover the lawsuit that happened in New York with religious exemptions, and with a lot of people who ended up working for the Children's Health Defense Network. So I was like, yeah, what the fuck is going on here? I cannot believe that. And there's a lot of people within the MAHA movement, by the way, I know, even people who work for Children's Health Defense are like, yo, what the hell is happening? Y'all are not the same people, or at least your ideology isn't reflective of the same ideology that encourage all those people to become part of Children's Health Defense, part of the MAHA movement, et cetera, et cetera. But I just let you know, man, if you're going to run inside of one of those big old parties, there is no other outcome.
Yeah.
Because if there was going to be another outcome, there were people that were holding on to hope, for example, that Tulsi was going to okay, man, she's a Republican, but she's still going to challenge the establishment, right? She's going to challenge these wars. She's going to challenge the false intel that gets planted into the federal government. She is possibly the worst DNI of the last fucking 2 decades. Yeah. Because she actually pretends like she's anti-establishment still and says exactly what the fuck they tell her to and refuses to question any intelligence, especially if it comes from Israel. Oh, and especially if it's about Muslims. Oh, if she can find any bad intel about Muslims, she's going to string that shit across the board and force it down our throats. Yeah.
Yeah. And if she doesn't get her TPS report in, she gets called out, man. She gets told, hey, Trump doesn't care what she has to say. If she happened to tell us that Iran isn't developing any nuclear weapons, she gets called out. So she can't do anything. If that's even something, she can't even do that. So
TPS reports? Are you talking about Bill Lumberg over here?
That was a Bill. You got the reference.
Lumberg for me.
No. Yeah. to just make sure you get those in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And
One thing I will say though, I did, and I haven't gone too far past the headline, but I did see a headline the other day that apparently they are going to invest, what is it, $700-800 million in regenerative agriculture or something like that. But my issue is that's good, but how will that money be spent? Will there be any accountability for it? Will we hear about the products that are coming out of that? Or is this just going to get like laundered through, a few different big companies that say they're doing regenerative agriculture and then don't really do it? And on top of that, my two biggest disappointments is the fact that, number one, the reason why MAHA was even a thing in the first place was because everyone wanted prosecutions, for what happened during the pandemic, and everyone wanted the mRNA shots to be pulled. None of that's going to happen. We know that for sure, because if
red dye, come on.
Yeah. No, they're blocking it. They're blocking Greg, they're blocking red dye in one of the states right now. Judges are blocking it. They're blocking
it. Be an advocate for the MAHA movement over here.
It's red dye is staying.
Listen, what they're going to do?
Yeah.
They'll block the red dye and then put out burgundy dye. It'll be
no. I'm saying they're blocking the
red M&Ms. They're pissed off.
Jay, they're blocking they're going to keep red dye in. That the judge is blocking the change.
Oh, they did?
Yes, that's happening right now. I forget what state.
I guess so. There was like one positive outcome. I guess didn't they stop making it mandatory that babies in the U.S. get the hepatitis shot once they're born?
There is a mandate challenge, but it doesn't take things off a shelf. So if you've proven, so we're talking about harmful products that in any other industry, you pull them from the shelf if they don't have any effect. Now, obviously, hepatitis B, there's not a string of data saying it's actually murdering children, but just getting it off. We call these peanuts. These are peanuts they're throwing at us. When we say that the MAHA movement was all theater, what we're saying is that Make America Healthy Again was a slogan designed to get people to be herded into the Trump campaign,
and it worked.
So the thing that isn't bullshit. So let's be clear: the thing that isn't bullshit is the medical freedom movement. That's what was captured. The medical freedom movement is what Jay's mentioning. The part about we need to get people held responsible for the crimes against humanity through these mRNA products. That's what that is.
And there was two parts to that movement. There was the change, but there was the accountability portion.
Yeah.
And now there's on top of the injections, actually, the scariest part about what's happening right now is now RFK was actually the one who educated me about the protection that vaccine manufacturers have from being sued. Now, under his watch, they're extending that same protection to pesticide manufacturers, and they're also introducing more pesticides that have PFAS chemicals in the pesticide. So they weren't in pesticides before, to the best of my knowledge, but now they're creating new pesticides that have forever chemicals as they get ready to give all of these people immunity from being sued if they wind up poisoning you, and you can prove that you got poisoned by their products. So the exact same thing that RFK educated me about was a problem for vaccines, they're now creating the same problem for the pesticide industry, and all this is happening under the MAHA watch. So I feel pretty damn betrayed, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I gotta tell you too. There is enough information on HEP. I don't know where they got the information that there isn't enough, because I was told in the military, yeah, man, you can't take this shot, or you shouldn't take the second round. I was like, why not? Because you're immune. Oh, okay. What does that mean? It can be very, very, very problematic if you take this shot. Well, if I'm immune and y'all already gave me the fucking first one, is that problematic? Yeah, you shouldn't have taken that one. And I got asthma, and that's why the military has paid me for the rest of my life. I'd never had asthma before, right? So there is immunity to hepatitis, and if you take that shot, and so just in the grander context, if I was living in the U.S., my daughter and my son would have been forced to take a shot, despite the fact that both my daughter and my son have the exact same blood type as me.
That depends where you are. I recently just went through that experience, and they tried to force vitamin K and the hepatitis B on my daughter when she was born, and I just told them no. Now they had to send at least 5 different doctors like into that room to try to convince me and tell me I'm being irresponsible and I'm being reckless, in 5 different ways. But it was a choice. So you kind of have to know your rights. You kind of have to, stand firm. And then you really got to look at who your pediatrician is. But I'm also in Texas. If I was in a blue state, it might not be like that. So
yeah. So
I'm like, well, I don't know why my damn dog. Like, why would your baby get hepatitis? What is your baby doing where they could get hepatitis, even if like there wasn't immunity?
Yeah. Well, these are the questions that so many parents never ask themselves, and then now they're starting to, which is good. And so we have to say, look, the medical freedom movement, which kind of busted through the COVID times, became something, and it still is. There's still people that are honest like we are that are saying, you know what, we thought. Well, I don't know if we were a little more skeptical, but it's not about Trump getting it done. It's not about RFK Jr. getting done. We still have to do the work. We still have to figure out a way for justice to happen. And so there's people doing that. There's good people still doing that. With that said, MAHA itself was one big scam. And I just want people to see through this year how we were able to determine that 100%. It's not negotiable at this point. Just there's plenty of examples. I will start with the first one we should have gotten on. This is literally day 2. Trump is in office on his second day, and Larry Ellison comes in to do this.
You look even better. Thank you, Mr. President. One of the most exciting things we're working on, using the tools that Sam and MOSSAD are providing, is a cancer vaccine. It's very interesting. It turns out, I'll be quick, all of our cancers, cancer tumors, little fragments of those tumors float around in your blood. So you can do early cancer detection. If you can do using AI, you can do early cancer detection with a blood test. And using AI to look at the blood test, you can find the cancers that are actually seriously threatening the person. So we can, again, cancer diagnosis using AI has the promise of just being a simple blood test. Then beyond that, once we gene sequence that cancer tumor, you can then vaccinate the person, design a vaccine for every individual person to vaccinate them against that cancer. And you can make that vaccine, that mRNA vaccine, you can make that robotically, again, using AI in about 48 hours. So imagine early cancer detection, the development of a cancer vaccine for your particular cancer aimed at you, and have that vaccine available in 48 hours. This is the promise of AI and the promise of the future.
Day 2. That was day 2. And it's a $500 billion investment on day 2.
Jay.
Stargate Initiative. That's what it's called. The Stargate Initiative.
Hold on. Just to be clear, mRNA was like the main thing that y'all were like, hey man, RFK is gonna get rid of this specific shit, right? Like it was that very specifically, correct? I wanna make sure I'm getting I know there's a lot that's happened last. What the hell?
That's Larry Ellison, by the way, of Oracle, who Candace Owens used to run a lot of Oracle ads for. By the way, just keep that in mind too as well. So go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, and what I want people to remember is, like, they literally did this on day 2, and then Trump had another speech after that where he essentially said, oh yeah, and by the way, guys, guess what? We're going to start up a sovereign wealth fund in America, and we're going to buy a piece of these companies. So next time we decide to poison you, you guys can all profit from the process of us poisoning you at the same time. So he wants to make us all shareholders in our own death. So this is what he's pushing, at this point in time. But you're 100% right, Nico. But here's the thing, right? As soon as they announced the partnership, I didn't even think about it. I'm like, no. When I look at history, Republicans have consistently deregulated everything, and they've made it easier for companies to poison us. And if the whole point is we want to get poisons out the environment, there's no way that's going to happen in the Republican Party. So my immediate thought was he's being blackmailed or something like that, or being threatened. I don't know what happened, but I never once went along with it. However, unfortunately, the majority of people in the MAHA movement and Kennedy supporters did actually go along with it, and they just decided to follow the leader. So, you know, this is where we're at.
That moment, by the way.
Trump economy was strong. That Trump economy was a very strong.
I just want to say that moment right there was equivalent to me when Obama came forth and said that he had a list from Citi. He didn't say it, but he had a list from Citibank in which he had to pick his economic cabinet. And we were like, wait a second, you're picking a Wall Street cabinet? That's what you were supposed to be against. That was like one of the #1 reasons why. It was after the heels of the Occupy Wall Street movement, right? And now here he is. He's telling us that Wall Street's going to pick his cabinet. That's like almost the same thing what we saw there. Larry Ellison and Sam Altman was up there next to him, by the way, on day 2, when you should have said, fuck, I've been played right here and there. They didn't do that. They're still making excuses. They have the copium because they're trying to cope with all this bullshit. We had the hopium, but they got to wake up and see this was a telling moment for the Trump campaign that he was bought and paid for by the fucking technocrats. The #1 thing you were supposed to be against. Well, guess what? They're still there. They're in power, and digital money's coming right down your throat.
Yeah. It's so weird that people were like, are not like, in Portuguese, you say, eles não estão ligados. Like,
well, we know what the argument to that.
Figured this shit out yet, my guys.
They're still making excuses. They're doing the thing where you're captured by the tribe, and you come up with, oh, he's just you know, appeasing him now. He's going to get him later. And then I remember people saying, well, Larry Ellison hasn't done anything bad yet. It was all the Pfizer, Moderna people. We're going to get them. We're going to go get Alfred Borda. That's what's coming. Well, think again, guys, because you remember this happened. There you go. Look at RFK Jr.'s face as Pfizer strikes $70 billion deal with the U.S.
Knowing he can't do a goddamn thing about
mRNA
it.
empire.
Albert Bola.
He's not going to jail. He's not even going to be reprimanded. He's going to get an investment opportunity to make more money as Trump tells the world that this guy put his humanity over profit, and as RFK has to stand there listening to that shit and not allowed to interrupt, because he's also in his place and doing what he has to do, which is all, again, it's all theater. And if you guys don't think that's enough, here's a Moderna deal. There you go. Full approval for a new vaccine called SpikeVax. So this all has gone through. This is $84 million.
I can't believe the guy who signed Operation Warp Speed would do something like that. I can't believe it.
Look at this. Operation Warp Speed right there. The next spike. Moderna.
Look at that Moderna, right? It says modern RNA.
NEX, just for all you scholars out
got
there.
Some wordplay in it.
It's for all you word scholars. NEX is Latin for death, especially violent or a natural death.
I swear to God, I did not know that. But NEX is. Oh, I guess that does make sense. Shit.
Do you guys want to pour a little more salt on that wound? Trump wanted you to know that he got his booster. That was October 11th. Peter McCullough let us know. I know he's not so happy about it, but he let us know that Trump receives COVID booster. Is McCullough trying to lighten the blow by saying a possible marketing stunt, so he doesn't think that Trump got it? Whether he got it or not, he told us it was time for booster.
I feel like he's attacking him, isn't it? You didn't read that as an attack? He doesn't believe that Trump genuinely believes in that shit. It is only just a marketing stunt, which actually makes the whole thing worse.
It does make it worse, but it still leaves a little room for people to say 10D chess. He's faking it, and he's going to get him later, right?
10D chess.
Yeah, they didn't kill him with the shot, right?
What I never understand about
6D,
that
7D, 10D.
Yeah.
12D chess by the beginning of next year.
Here's the thing about the 10D chess argument, right? You have to make your move before the death blow, right? And, so much of our population has already been injected with the mRNA. Like, it's a little too late for that. At this point,
true too.
We have to start figuring out solutions for people, because there are solutions and there are things people can do to, get rid of the mRNA. But we're not investing any energy into studying it more, into putting the information out there more. They're just kind of pretending that nothing's happening and going along with the program and giving out more contracts to the same people who caused the problem. So it's too late. It's not
The only solution is pitchforks.
Also, the other problem with the assumption that Trump is playing 10D chess, that requires him to know how to play chess. And I'm willing to bet my life savings that this motherfucker does not know how to play chess. So there's that. So anyway, I do have to get up out of here though. I got a crying baby girl upstairs I gotta take care of. So
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well,
get it.
Okay. Well, let me just tag on this at the end. For people who think that we could go get these guys outside of the U.S., think again, because here's Bill Gates, ordered by a Dutch court. This was earlier this at the end of last year. He was ordered to face trial. But what happened leading up to that trial was this: the lawyer that was suing Gates has now been arrested and imprisoned in the Netherlands. So this is, we covered this earlier this year. So this is this never. I don't know if the trial ever happened, because the main guy suing him is now in jail. So they made sure that Bill Gates did not have to actually go there and represent himself for crimes against humanity.
Pitchforks.
Yeah.
Like,
the only
what
solution.
is he in jail for?
It says that they have arrested the attorney that was the lead attorney suing Bill Gates and Albert Bourla, Mark Rutte, for COVID-19 vaccine injuries. The civil process was scheduled to begin on July 9th. He was arrested in early morning raid by paramilitary police in the early morning of June 11th, where he was reportedly blindfolded, bound, and taken to detention, where he remains almost 2 months later. I don't know if it says it. If it says,
"Where are your papers?"
Hold on.
He must
hold up. Paramilitary dog?
Yes.
Blindfolded his ass.
Yes.
Marched him outside.
So this is what happens when we go out.
He
when we
doesn't
go
even know where the fuck he is at right now, basically, is what you're telling me.
Nope. No, we don't. No. So this is what happens when you try and sue these guys outside of the captured U.S. system. You don't get to trial. So there's a massive capture here on a global scale. We know that this was a NATO operation to begin with that got the lockdown started. We've covered all this. We have people come. We've seen the paper trail. We know where Fauci was going to these meetings, these NATO meetings, off the record. He will never. He got the 11-year pardon, right? That retroactively, so he doesn't have any ties to the Ukraine biolabs. All these things from 2014. Everyone gets to walk away. Nobody goes to jail. And I think Elon put it best on a tweet that I think when he was realizing that he might have, but again, that's all theater too. Elon pretending that something was happening is also theater. But this was his little tweet, I think, that is kind of interesting. Wait, where did it go? Oh, he had he did one. I don't have it on me, but he said the amount of, it was like a Back to the Future clock with the 0000. How many people go into jail for this? Zero.
Yeah,
still zero.
him too. Shit, his ass ain't in jail.
His ass in jail.
He ain't even in jail.
He's not in jail.
Elon.
But I'll say he had a really funny tweet back during the lockdown where I think he said, "My pronouns are arrest Fauci." I thought that was kind of clever. But
I feel like that's kind of clever, but also I feel like this. I bet he a booster taking ass motherfucker. Like Elon looks like he takes some booster shots. Am I lying? Am I lying?
You said booster shot. I thought you said Blue Chew.
Looks like you take those too. I'm not going to judge him for that, but he looked like a booster shot. And plus, don't forget, this man was doing business. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, Elon and Tesla he had the only factory open in all of China during COVID, and which is bizarre.
He pushed a shot on his workers too. People forget that. So he wanted his workers.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, he made a ton of money during COVID. He made for vaccines, dude. He had a part to play.
That's
with the whole,
what I'm saying.
Yes, he did. A lot of people,
like Matt said, it's fucking theater. It is theater.
It's all
This guy
theater.
is like, he's a part. What's be crazy is how this motherfucker be pretending like, oh yeah, that frog gotta get under control. I'm like, bro, you just got played in front of the whole world, and they put you in a fucking little kids table, right? They put you in a corner after you thought you were important. You gave $200 million just for these motherfuckers. Like, get the fuck out the government, dog. We just wanted your money. We thought you knew. You didn't know. I thought that you already knew that. Anyway,
they say that Hillary, Bill, and Elon Musk, right? This was something that Steve said. Hillary, Bill, and Elon Musk are taking the adrenochrome from the vax children. That's the problem over there. That's what's going on.
Then why is Bill Clinton so rough looking? Why is his skin peeling off?
He's taking the adrenochrome from the vax children, not the unvaxxed.
Oh, he got the wrong. Oh, he got the wrong one. Oh,
taking the wrong adrenochrome.
That somebody
you guys
sent
saw
him the wrong package. God damn, boy.
Did you guys see the Demi Moore film where she
That's why you
starts
can't
shooting
get
up
your
to
shit.
be young?
Hey, you don't get your shit from. Don't get your adrenochrome from Wish, guys. Don't take that Wish adrenochrome.
They got you for life. If you stop taking it, there's physical effects. You have to keep taking
really?
it. It's like the Demi Moore film where she's trying to be young, and they say you have to keep taking it, or you're gonna be worse off than when you started. I mean, look at Ellen. She's like, you seen pictures of her. Like, how do you get so old so fast?
TV.
So
yes, like what the hell?
Yeah, she's missing her injections or whatever. Her
like no offense, like I know like y'all white people, y'all kind of age kind of fast, but like that shit was overnight.
Yeah, it was overnight, right when she moved.
That was like yo, this is a little weird. Okay, but maybe I'm just being judgy. I didn't want to be superficial and shit. But yeah, no, her aging, like it's like almost like she knew it was coming. Like maybe she didn't have enough to make the adrenochrome payments, or she was losing her stock.
Yeah,
I don't know. I can't tell you, but it looked like you're right. It doesn't look like she was taking something, and she's not taking it anymore. Yeah. Oh, whew. Well, let me get up out of here, man.
Okay.
I appreciate you guys.
Nico, see you for Carnival.
Carnival. Hold up, you're coming?
Oh,
bro, don't play with me. Don't play with me, boy. Hey, you know I gotta. Hey, for real, don't play with me because you know you gotta rent. You gotta make you gotta rent some shit in advance out here, dog. You know it's February, not a game out here. Okay.
I'm gonna talk to Mukan and I'll see you.
All right, broski. Let me know, dog.
All right, Bubba.
All right.
The last time we saw each other was in Brazil, for fucking crying out loud.
Nice.
Now he lives there. Jesus.
Yeah. All right, guys. We still got 4 more. Are you guys down? We're jumping into a few more here.
I mean, I can go to 6:30. So.
Well, we'll see what we can get through right now. But we got the top 4 happening right now. Couple. I didn't put this up from Citizen. This was we had the Shaq, Kobe, Peyton, Malone.
That
was a
you
good
can't
one.
waste no time with the bullshit anymore. We ain't no
Good
Lakers.
one.
I ain't no part of no Lakers.
That's a good one. And following it up here with the petrodollar, Lee Camp talks a lot about petrodollar. That's an absolutely great topic. We know that that's the thing that's been kind of forcing us to stay in this power position, which is not sustainable. As we know, the petrodollar should have fallen apart decades ago.
It is actually falling apart because Saudi Arabia is taking payments for oil currencies, other than the dollar right now, and other countries are trading, oil in their own currencies too. Like India and Russia are using each other's currencies to trade oil right now. So petrodollar is in the process of dying. It ain't dead yet, but it's got its diagnosis. So.
Okay, moving on. Coming in, top censored news of the year, the number 4 story, kind of a spillover from the last one, but worth its own number. And that is, turns out Larry Ellison is the silent king. NOKINGS was fake. And that was by design. We know that NOKINGS was about pinning the Emperor Trump, Hitler Trump, King Trump as the guy that was doing all these despicable things, and that was the distraction. Meanwhile, Larry Ellison was the guy behind the scenes that the mainstream media didn't have anything to say about. Why? Because he started buying up all the companies one at a time, and no one reported on it. So this is the newest one that owner of Paramount, which is his son actually did the deal. He's part of that deal, and he's trying to get gonna sabotage this Netflix Warner Brothers deal. Not that that's a good deal as is. This one's much worse. We call it a hostile takeover. So that's what he's working on currently. But we know that Larry Ellison comes from his company Oracle. Oracle is an Israeli spy company. So all of his tech, all of his billions that he made was through that. The IDF investment, he has billions of dollars investment in IDF, and Oracle, he just kept the name, but now he's pretending, I think, just pretending to be a media guy when the whole thing was Israeli spy stuff the whole time. That's what it was. And here's the Here's the paper trail: 26 million to the IDF, and the legal settlements, illegal settlements in Palestine, and then once he got into Paramount, he could start making decisions about policy and Paramount. Obviously, if you own a network, you can do whatever you want, and you start blacklisting people that were speaking out against. So you can do that. You can say, okay, you can't be on Paramount ever again. And these are the players we know that have been vocal during the genocide: Mark Ruffalo, Emma Stone, Javier Bardem. These are the people that are getting punished now on that network. But it's not just Paramount. We're talking about TikTok, right? This is the big one that Netanyahu is just ecstatic about. Yeah. I want to remind you, because this was a big moment when Netanyahu gloated about the capture of TikTok, and this is all through Larry Ellison. This is the guy that makes Netanyahu more excited than when he talks about Trump, is Larry Ellison. So here's the let me grab it.
And while you do that, don't forget James Lee, who has done a lot of great reporting on Zionist control in Congress. He had his TikTok, pulled after this takeover too, or at least suspended. So shouldn't be too surprising. Yeah,
exactly. All the people that were challenging Israel on TikTok are gone, and that is by design. And there's still a lot of the country that thinks that China was the one that's trying to get TikTok. It was all this big scam. That's not what was going on. Yeah. It was always about Israel capturing TikTok. Here's Netanyahu bragging about it. And this is because Larry Ellison, as we're calling him in this segment, is the silent king, the one that no one's protesting against. Imagine that. No one is out there with signs with Larry Ellison on it. But here's BB bragging about it.
Influencers. Okay. You said, we talked about the woke right. And you said, I call it the woke Reich. That's a brilliant observation. The woke Reich, because these people, they're not any different from the woke left. I mean, they're insane. They're Louise. But they're actually meeting on some of the things. And what we have to do is we have to secure that part of the base of our support in the United States. That is being challenged systematically. A lot of this is done with money. Money of NGOs, vast. Money of governments, vaster. Okay? We have to fight back. How do we fight back? Our influencers. I think you should also talk to them if you have a chance. To that community, they're very important. And secondly, we're going to have to use the tools of battle. The weapons change over time. You can't fight today with swords. That doesn't work very well. Okay, and you can't fight with cavalry. That doesn't work very well. And you have these new things, like drones, things like that. I won't get into that. But we have to fight with the weapons that apply to the battlefields in which we're engaged. And the most important ones are the social media. And the most important purchase that is going on right now is TikTok.
So there he is. He's talking about TikTok right there, and he's calling them class because these are the influencers that he's educating, and then what he's doing is he's paying them out to work for him as well. So we knew that this happened. This is the $7,000. You guys remember the $7,000 influencer? So those are the ones sitting there right there. He actually flew out to New York and had that meeting with them in New York as he was educating them about the purchase of TikTok. And later in the clip, he describes that we need to get Twitter next, and we just need to quote unquote nudge Elon a little bit to get that to happen. So it's just one at a time. But Larry Ellison is he is the vessel to accomplish this on levels beyond what we can even imagine, beyond entertainment, beyond social media. We're talking about CNN. We know what's going on at CBS now with Barry Weiss, and all of this is through Ellison. And then you talk about the technology we covered in the last segment with the mRNA AI technology. So it's pre-cancer, but that's actually pre-health, which is also pre-crime. So everything is pre-this, pre-that, technology to follow you around, supercomputer, the whole thing. It all comes back to Larry Ellison, who Netanyahu, again, he gets more giddy talking about this guy than he does even about Trump. And I'll just, to pass to you guys, let me just give you guys a clip of Ellison telling us how excited he is about the surveillance state. Because,
exactly.
like
I was going to talk about
Oracle is a spy company It's the media stuff is all icing on the cake. He's a spy dude. He's a surveillance guy. He can't help bragging about it. Here he is.
Cams will be transmitting that. The police will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording, watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
That's it. Hey, Craig, do you want to respond to this?
No, this is why I'm saying anybody who is running, Oracle commercials and stuff, whatnot, it's controlling the narrative across the board with ultimate surveillance in a surveillance state. You know what I'm saying? We're not just talking about the mRNA vaccine, the AI mRNA vaccine that's going in that's really creepy and whatnot. We're talking about Minority Report. We're talking about a surveillance state over here. Everybody will be on their best behavior because everything will be watched all the time. What more do you need to hear? That was supposed to be the opposite of what the populist right wanted. And now they're they're not only just, capitulating to it, they're volunteering and pushing it.
Yeah.
Yep. And I even saw like a headline the other day. Apparently, Apple has a patent to read brainwaves using headphones, and now everyone has like the Apple iPod. So I don't know if it's in there already, but not to get too far off topic. People forget with the whole TikTok story, there was a lead up to it. Like the head of the ADL, Jonathan Greenblatt, I think his name was, long before Larry Ellison ever even bought it. Like he was making the rounds talking about, hey guys, we got a problem. We're losing the youth. We're losing the upcoming right because of TikTok. Like TikTok was the platform they named in particular that was turning people against their cause. So, and just funnily enough, that happens to be the one that gets taken over by the most Zionist donor, like other than maybe the Adelsons, ministry, or no, he's the most, he's donated the most of the IDF or something like that. So it's like there was a whole lead up to it. So, it just goes to show you, the establishment's priority is Israel first. So that's what they love.
And the law and the litigation being pushed as well. This also is the capture of Google, because Google will also set the narration as far as what constitutes a good story, what's not a good story, what gets brushed under the rug. But this had happened right before the Ellison deal, where we had the 45 million contract with Netanyahu. So this is like a multi-prong attack here that's been going on for a long time. This entire genocide has been the killing of Palestinians at the same time capturing all these companies. And so why won't the mainstream report on it? Because they are also captured, and you can see the paper trail here. And this is all throughout this year. So this year it's been amplified. It's been we're going so fast that every week we look at the next headline. What is Larry Ellison going to buy next? And it looks like he might be taking WB, and that's a problem. That's another problem. So it's another added to the Paramount, added to CNN, added to CBS, and all the social media stuff. And what do we have left? Do we have anything with Twitter that's just barely we're hanging on to because Elon, for whatever reason, he's shadow banning the shit out of us, but at least we still have our accounts? Is that all we have left? Is Twitter? Then what? What do we do next after that? What do we have? Craig, where are we headed with this into 2026?
I mean, we've talked about this. Like, listen, the censorship is at an all-time high. One of the very bad things about Donald Trump's administration is that people stop talking about open source and transparency within our platforms. They think it's all gone away. They played it out, and this is why the Twitter files were so damaging. Number one, it wasn't source material; it was screenshots, and they made it out to be like conservatives were being punished. And a lot of the conservatives that they mentioned, Dan Bongino, all these other guys, they now have gotten back their platform and they've been elevated. But the whole transparency situation is behind us, and we're not even talking about it no more. Nobody's calling for how are they controlling the narrative? How are they controlling the information out there? It's all gone away, and they just want to further their reach, their grab. My friend Kim Iverson said last year, she says, it's going away, independent media. The only people going to be able to do this is they have a few bucks for a hobby, but they're controlling everything in front of our eyes right now. And they've been able to, hurt us into certain corners, whatnot, different platforms. And we're just kind of stuck out in the open right now, and there's zero transparency out there.
I will say X is such a funny thing because, clearly whatever story Elon wants to go viral does go viral, because right now, instead of us talking about all the countries that, you know, we've been bombing over the past few days, the number one story on X is Somali immigrants. Like, and you know, what's this guy's name? Nick something like that. Like he goes up to a daycare center that's actually already been closed down and found of fraud. So it's not like it's still a functioning place, because they already caught them doing bad shit over there. Like he goes over there, pretends it's still open, and then that story goes viral. And so look how the Democrats are still giving away money to this daycare center, you know, that's committing fraud. So it's like, you know, he is using X to boost whatever story he wants to distract people, even though we do have relatively more free speech over there. So now that Larry Ellison has, you know, TikTok, we can guarantee they're going to start manipulating the algorithms even more to do the same thing over there. We already know Instagram and Facebook have been suspending people, you know, like for a long time. That was the first place actually that I started to get censored. So yeah, that's where we're at. But
okay, I was going to see, I think we can get to the top 3 stories here if Craig's able to come on to do one more, because I think this one's the one we were talking actually about it, and it bleeds in from the last one, because we're talking about Palestine. So I'm going to go ahead and intro this, unless you had any final thought on Larry Ellison, or are we kind of got that?
I mean, you know, like just follow the money, guys. Don't even just focus only on him, because you got a few different kingmakers out there like that. Peter Thiel is like the kingmaker of the surveillance state, you know, but Larry Ellison is definitely one to, you know, keep our eyes on. But I have time for one more. Let's do it.
Okay. We're going to do number 3 story. Here we go. Coming in at number 3, top censored news of the year. The ceasefire deal was BS the whole time. Mainstream media continues blacking out the genocide. I want to refresh you guys with this, because this one, if you're a Trump guy who thought it was about ending conflict, ending wars, this one's gotta hurt. That music is so annoying. I'm going to turn it down so we can rag on this. Anybody that was making excuses for this or posted it, I remember there were people posting this thing when it came out, trying to pretend that this was some sort of like, hey, he's going to do a good job with what we have to work with no mention of the fact that this entire thing is exploiting dead Palestinians who are, I guess, buried underneath all of this Vegas crap that he's putting out there. So,
you know, my question is, Trump got the Christian vote, right? Was that his wife he was dancing with, like in the video? Because it definitely showed Trump dancing with a woman, you know, just now in that video. So, but I mean, like, you know, casinos, like, you know, like club life. I mean, is this really what won the Christian vote? But, you know, that's where we are, I guess. So.
No, here we are. And that deal, this peace deal, which you guys remember, Twitter was loaded with people saying, hey, all you Palestinian losers, why are you not celebrating the win? Why? Oh, because you guys were all not being honest the whole time. That's why aren't you acknowledging that Trump got a deal? Because it's not actually a deal. It's all fake. And Israel broke it immediately. They break every ceasefire deal. But this one, they wanted all of us to go on and say, you're right, he did it. And now where are they? They're not obviously they're not apologizing now, because Israel has broke every single day of this last 80 days. They've broken every single day of this deal. Okay.
And what I want people to remember, I don't know if you caught this or not, but now Israel has recognized a breakaway country called Somaliland. And apparently, I was just reading about this yesterday. One of the main reasons why they recognized it is because they got this breakaway government to agree to take in the Palestinians that they're about to displace. So, you know, like they've been shopping around actually for different countries that will accept Palestinians. And so far, pretty much everyone, you know, has told them no. So, you know, like Palestinians and everyone who supports like the cause, who really follows what's going on, can easily see who Trump's biggest donor is. So if your priority is truth and not worshiping Trump, then you should have known that even if he pays lip service to doing something for the Palestinians, he's going to do what his donors tell him to do, because that's what politicians do. They do what their donors tell them to do.
Yeah. And so this moment right now that Netanyahu on his 5th trip to DC, no other president's had 5 trips. It's happened all in the first year. This is where he stands up and lies, and nobody in the media is calling out this lie. This is the most ridiculous, and again, this is going to keep the people that were ragging on us for not congratulating Trump on a peace deal. They're still going to be on board with team Trump is the peace guy. Hamas is, we can't seem to do anything about Hamas. Here he is lying right now on camera, and nobody's calling this out on mainstream.
Are you concerned that Israel is not moving quickly enough to phase 2 of the peace plan?
Well, I'm not concerned about anything that Israel's doing. I'm concerned about what other people are doing or maybe aren't doing. But I'm not concerned. They've lived up to the plan.
You'll see how Netanyahu
solid, and sometimes they don't understand when somebody violates.
Go ahead.
Do you see how Netanyahu looks over at him to make sure he doesn't get out of line? And as soon as he says what Netanyahu says, he does that little nod too. All right.
This does not just
Trump. He's gonna come in with the bullshit anyways. This guy's so fucking knows so far fucking Netanyahu's ass. Please.
Are you ready to not say that this is a little brother standing next to him? Craig, does this look like, I'm glad Jay pointed this out, the body language. Is Netanyahu coming here to ask for permission to continue to bomb Iran and to continue doing what he's doing to Palestine? Is he asking for permission, or is he telling his lapdog, this is what is happening next?
It looks like he's got a lot of blackmail on the guy. Who knows? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, here he goes. The lies.
Once again, Trump is nothing more than the stenographer for the ruling class. He doesn't really make decisions. He just, he speaks for them. This is a global cabal of sorts.
But Netanyahu is not asking for permission. He's telling us what he's doing.
Yeah. Really quick. That's the key that you said just now, Craig. He's representing a global cabal, not an American cabal. So they both work for the same global cabal that has no loyalty to America. They just happen to be using America as the muscle, and Netanyahu is like the muscle when it comes to donors, to an extent right now. He's coordinating some of that donor money. So, but yeah, they both work for a multinational elite with no loyalty to any one country.
Yeah, let's hear the lie continuing.
I got to run in about 3 minutes
You want
too.
to give him a second chance? Well, we'll give him a couple of second chances. But no, Israel's lived up to the plan 100%. Don't forget, we made the plan possible by taking out Iran. And speaking of Iran, I hope they're not trying to build up again, because if they are, we're going to have no choice but very quickly to eradicate that buildup. So I hope Iran is not trying to build up, as I've been reading that they're building up weapons and other things. And if they are, they're not using the sites that we obliterated, but they're using possibly different sites. We know
third
exactly
fucking grade level this guy talks at. A third fucking grade level. This is our president of the United States.
It's worse than that. The fact that you don't have a media ready to push back at him when they've been spending their entire last decade of their careers making money off of pushing back on Trump for all the horrible stuff he says and does. They won't do it on this one. They won't do it.
What they're doing. And I hope they're not doing it, because we don't want to waste the fuel on a B-2. It's a 37-hour trip both ways. I don't want to waste a lot of fuel. Okay?
So they protect him on every turn. And the notion going into this that Israel's the one that's having to be patient with Hamas breaking all of the rules and Israel's just being the nice guy. This is how CNN responds to that. This is what you're getting on mainstream. The network that was supposed to call out when Trump did something stupid or lied to us.
This that I think is missing, and that is the fact that Hamas is in violation of Trump's.
I'm sorry, this is MS Now. I mixed them up, but yeah, MS Now.
20-point plan. They were supposed to return all of the hostages. Master Sergeant Ron Gavili is still, his body is still in Gaza. And Hamas was supposed to be disarmed, which it is flatly refusing to do. So that it is clear that Netanyahu may be trying to wriggle out of some of the commitments that he made to the president through the 20-point plan. Hamas remains in violation of the ceasefire and has been from the very beginning. And it's
so again, think about it. The network that was supposed to tell us about 72 felonies and E.G. Carroll and all these things, Rachel Maddow going on a shopping spree with E.G. Carroll because we got him good, and all these things they were supposed to be. Where is the pushback on this? No, he's saying, oh no, Netanyahu is in a position where it makes sense that he couldn't really do the next step because Hamas. So they're deliberately lying about way more important stuff going on here that affects all of us. This is what the news should be doing, and they're not. They should be telling us about the press release coming from the government media office in Palestine. This is the 80-day mark where 969 violations have been committed by Israel, with 418 martyrs, 1,141 injured. As Gaza Strip faces a slow death, they're affirming that since the ceasefire agreement, which was entered in on October 10th, up to today, this was on Sunday, this is 80 days in, they've been committing a systematic and grave violations of the agreement, constituting of blatant breach, international humanitarian law, deliberate undermining of the essence of the ceasefire, and its accompanying humanitarian protocol. Why aren't they reporting on it? Because they're all in on it. And then this goes on. There's all the numbers of everything that they have violated. And then I'll just fast forward ahead. They're saying on the humanitarian level, the Gaza Strip continues to face a slow death. On the occupation persists in evading its obligations under the agreement and the humanitarian protocol. All of these things, they're not even getting the aid in. Everything that was said, again, CNN or MS now is defending Netanyahu for not having to do these things because Hamas. And then they're saying the shelter's not coming. They're not giving the shelter. Everything's failing. And this is a time of winter. You guys can check this yourself. It's on this. This came out on Sunday. I just want to fast forward to the end here. We affirm that the continuation of these violations constitutes a dangerous circumvention of the ceasefire and an attempt to impose humanitarian reality based on coercion, starvation, and extortion. And down below, we call upon the international community, the United Nations, President Trump, the grantors and mediators of the agreement to assume their legal and moral responsibilities. None of that is going to happen. And this is the worst time for this to be happening. They're dying a slow death in the middle of winter, and nobody here is reporting on it. And that should be enough for the two-party system captured people to understand now is more than ever is the time to get out of it, because clearly they're all in on it together.
Yeah. And I said this before to you, I got to run.
Yeah.
But, and thank you so much. Happy New Year. Great to be with you on Jay and Matt. It's always fun. I got some mom duties to take care of. She's yelling for dinner. The biggest story, the biggest censored story of the year is what's happening in Israel, Gaza. Simply, if you look at the mainstream media and the way they've completely just ignored it, and they're not even paying attention to whatsoever, you found a rare clip out there because it's not the majority of their discussion. On any of the three major networks, MS Now, which used to be MSNBC, CNN, or Fox, they're not talking about it. And if they do talk about it, they talk about it from a stance of just Hamas being the terrorist. And a lot of the people in the mainstream kind of eat this shit up and just swallow it. It's the biggest sense, the biggest source, excuse me, of confirmation bias in the history of media since I've been around. That's what they're feeding people nowadays. And it truly is disgusting because the genocide is still continuing. And they even got rid of, they even controlling now TikTok, which provided us a lot of that view, that information, and that footage. So it really is a shame. Guys, thank you so much for having me on, Matt. I love you. Jay, I love you too. And it's been great. And I look forward to rocking and rolling with you guys in 2026.
Happy New Year. Great. Thanks for all the help, all the support and love, and helping elevate our channel, The Homeless Left. And we're all in this together, moving into 2026. Yeah. So have a great New Year's, man.
Bye to everybody out there. Ruth, where you been? We love you. See you soon.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Later. And I gotta just add, to that story, if you actually just listen to what Trump said, he just announced a new war with Iran. And they just kind of glossed over that, because what do you mean if they're still making missiles? Like, isn't that what a sovereign country is supposed to do? Build missiles to defend itself, especially one that is knowingly under attack? Like, it would be a dereliction of their duty as the government to not even try to defend themselves. So to say that you're going to attack them if they're building missiles to defend themselves is insane, because you know they're doing it. We know they're doing it. So he's not saying we're about to start a new war with Iran. He's saying, oh, we're only going to do it if they're still building missiles. Well, we know they're building missiles. So that's what he just announced. And, you know, unfortunately, there's so much going on that people aren't paying attention to it. And, you know, it's the same thing we see over and over again. Like, you know, Trump pump fakes like he's making peace, but he's not actually making peace. And, you know, I'm hoping that I've been wrong about this Ukraine situation and maybe they're going to come to a peace deal, but he's been doing the same thing over there. Like, he's been promising both sides everything they want to hear every time he meets with them, so we can get some positive headlines. But in reality, neither side is actually getting any closer to the truth. But, you know, with this latest attack on Putin, is it likely? No. But this is what I said, like, not to brag, but I did say this, like, at the start of the year. I never believed that Trump was actually going to make peace, even when it looked like he was making progress, because of the fact that, you know, they're all part of the same machine.
Yeah.
So,
and there was never going to be peace because you had to get the real estate available. And this part is just as important as the rest of it. But if you guys haven't heard of Project Sunrise, I'm going to let the girls at News Girls explain it very quickly to you guys. Just a summary. So use this as a talking point if anyone still thinks that there's some sort of peace going on in Palestine. No, it's about wiping them out and moving the next stage, which is the real estate and the $100 billion deal for Jared Kushner and the rebuilding and colonizing of Gaza. Here it is.
News, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that Jared Kushner is turning war-torn Gaza into an AI smart city. It'll reportedly cost $100 billion to make and is being called Project Sunrise. And we actually have access to the presentation that Kushner and other top Trump officials presented, showing how they want to develop luxury hotels, high-speed railways, AI-optimized grid features in Gaza. And believe it or not, it gets crazier. So it's reported to cost $112 billion to make this. And according to the plan, the US would contribute to 20% of the costs. So that's $60 billion of taxpayer money. And even though this plan, maps out all the phases of construction and all of these details, in this entire 30-page PowerPoint presentation, there is no mention of housing for the 2 million Palestinians that would be displaced during this allegedly 10-year reconstruction. So it just seems impractical. And on top of that, 10,000 bodies are laying under the 68 million tons of rubble that would have to be moved to make this. Apparently the ground is toxic, it's littered with unexploded bombs. So I don't know how they're planning on making some glitzy Riviera here, but reportedly, they're trying to monetize 75% of Gaza's coastline. And Trump officials are saying that this plan could actually be put into effect in 2 months. Kushner and Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff met with officials from Egypt, Turkey, and Qatar in Miami a couple days ago to discuss this development. So it looks like this project is kind of underway. Make sure to follow the News Girls for more updates on this and other political stories.
News Girls, good breakdown. There you go. That's why it was never about a ceasefire. It was always a distraction and a tool to keep us divided. And for anyone out there, you want to know why we weren't celebrating it, is because we knew it was going to be this way the whole time. I hope more people are waking up to it, Jay. Yep.
And, again, guys, it's a consistent thing. Follow the money. If we start doing that, we'll be able to predict the future, a lot better. So, But,
okay. Are you gonna have to cut out before the top two? But
let me try and wrap it up with you, man. I got to try and be here, see if I could do it. So let me see if I could stretch it out a little for it. It'll be a busy day when I get back, but let's do it.
Okay. I hear you. No, I appreciate it, man. Because I'm glad you're with me on this last two, because we might have gotten into some friendly discourse otherwise. But let's just you and I have been covering this, man. This is why Gaza. I know Pasta just said on the way out that Gaza was the #1 story, and it would be if it wasn't for the fact that the top two are also connected to that, but are much bigger reveals about why Gaza is the way it is. And I think that's where we are coming from, and why we have to pull the curtain back on the why. And if we can do that, then we can see the next Gaza coming. when that comes. So here we go. Without further ado, number 2 top censored news story of the year is Charlie Kirk's assassination was an inside job. Israel, TPUSA, and FBI are incriminated. How much of each? We're still figuring that part out, but there's plenty of red flags in all 3 of their directions. I would have put Trump on this list, but he just seems like a little lapdog going along with what any of these entities like to do. And the mainstream media is also going along with this. So let's bring up the first indication to us that something was wrong when Netanyahu was the very first one to report the murder. Everybody else was saying, we don't know if he's dead yet. We don't know. Jerusalem Post was the first to actually print it, and Netanyahu was the first to tweet it, which was right before the Jerusalem Post printed it. He says Charlie Kirk was murdered. That's the first time anybody said murder. Anybody was Netanyahu. Just want to be absolutely clear. It happened just 2 hours after his previous tweet, which he did not say. So the previous tweet is at the bottom. Let me take off the thing. You guys can see praying for Charlie Kirk, which was the same exact moment that Trump said praying for Charlie Kirk. So they were aligned with that. And then within 2 hours of then, it was the first report. So that's weird. Why would a foreign prime minister of another country have anything to do with breaking the news of this guy's death? Why? It makes absolutely no sense. But what makes even worse sense is what was going on right here with this FBI that we were told was looking into things. We were told could handle things. And here's Kash Patel telling us the case is closed. Within 33 hours, he closed the case. Check this out. And he's bragging about it, too, because it's like a world record.
And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox.
Wow, 33 hours. The guys, I mean, that's what we want. That's what the American people want. They want speediness. They don't want accuracy. And then once you get the guy, you want everybody to just shut the hell up and go back to business as usual. And that's what they got from a lot of Americans. They got that. And so when you look at some of this stuff, I mean, there's so much, Jay, there's so much, but I'm just going to remind people that this was the gun that what was apparently left on the scene. And somehow the scope was removed and it was put back. All these things. This is
that story has changed so many times, man. Yeah. Like whether or not, like how fast he had to disassemble the gun and then reassemble it after he jumped off the roof. Like none of it makes sense, man.
None of it makes sense.
And if I had to point out, you know, 2 things about the official explanation, not taking into account the circumstantial stuff, which we can definitely talk about after, but number 1 is how quickly he supposedly broke down that gun, because we have video footage of him running within 2 to 3 seconds, like of the shot going
Here
off.
it is. Here, I'll put it on mute, but this is, go ahead. This is, so this is him without the gun getting off of the roof.
Exactly. And, you know, they have Army experts on video right now showing you how long it takes to break down that gun. And the most trained people in the world who do this for a living, it takes them at least 60 seconds to break it down.
Even if you broke the gun down, how do you get down here? How do you get off the roof with no gun on you? And did they say it was in his pants or something? What the hell? Like
they said it was in the backpack, or like, I don't know, like that thing he had in his hand, but that looks like a jacket to me. So I don't even know what they're talking about, man. But you know, like long story short, like the gun part makes absolutely no sense because he's up and he's running way too fast. Number 2, that video camera we're looking at, people have gone to the exact same position, and it's now I'm sorry, Ian Carroll actually exposed this. The type of camera that is and the surveillance footage that we're seeing, that camera has the exact moment that he was on the roof taking the shot, but they've cropped that out of what they've distributed to the public, and they only gave us that part. But like the bullet itself, like that explanation is by far the worst part. That's even worse than that, because like that gun and that bullet would have literally blown the man's head off. And every single demonstration you see of them shooting anything with that bullet, you see what it does. Yet it didn't do that to Charlie Kirk. It didn't hit anything behind him. So the ballistics make absolutely zero sense. It's like, it's worse than the magic bullet theory that we heard from JFK. Like, for people who don't know, I guess most of our viewers would know, but for people who don't know, according to the official explanation of the JFK assassination, one bullet made 11 entry and exit wounds between not just JFK, but the governor who was sitting right next to JFK. So according to the official explanation that the government told us, that if you question your conspiracy theorists, a bullet went in and out of JFK's body and the other guy's body 11 times. One bullet. That's the official explanation. And the explanation for Charlie Kirk's murder makes just as much sense. Like, they're saying the man had bones of steel, and like the bullet entered in and hit his spine and went straight down. Like, it's defying every law of physics like imaginable. So those two things make absolutely no sense.
And I want to say that I went back to gather some of this stuff because I was like, how much? Because we got so much, Jay. We got so much. So I was like, well, let me go back to the first day when I got interested immediately. I was like, what's going on here? And there's so much to look at. And I feel like, man, we might have even felt. I'll say myself. I don't want to speak for you, but I mean, over these months, I might have fell for the distraction of let's defend Candace against the people that are attacking her, and let's figure out what's going on there in this WWE situation with Candace and whoever it was, Ben Shapiro or Erica Kirk, whoever she was going against, or Tucker was going against. But if you get those people out of the way, you understand that all this stuff is legit as is. And it's so we fall for this. The people that are attacking the messenger, that's wrong. Never attack the messenger. Look at the thing they're telling you. Mm-hmm. But then we unfortunately fall into the defend the messenger. And so I noticed that I'm like, we don't even need to bring up. I'm only bringing up Candace's name in this segment just as a reference point. I'm not going to even show any of Candace's tweets or anything because that's a distraction. There's other people doing the work too, and there's a ton of people doing the work. She just has the most, followings and impressions. But you can look at anybody doing the work. We're doing the work. This is Health Ranger telling us right away that the rifle was planted. The video that we just showed you proves it. There was no rifle when the shooter jumps off the roof. That's why the rifle makes no sense, why the scope is mounted incorrectly, and why there was a whole trans inscriptions. Remember that? They were magically found on the rifle and the bullets. And so you put the whole thing together. It doesn't make any sense. Finding this picture doesn't make any sense. I don't care that Candace was the one that showed it. She showed it because the person who had it gave it to her because they didn't trust it with anyone else. It doesn't matter who shared it. It's real. It's authentic. It checks out. He could not have gotten there. It's very weird that he got this many minutes away from campus, changed his outfit, and ordered some ice cream. It doesn't make any effing sense. But the biggest one, go ahead, Jay. You want to respond?
Yeah, and I was going to say, just to add to what you're saying, I don't think there's anything wrong, like in mentioning what Candace is saying, because she has such a big platform. It's just the fact that, we should always remember the fact that the biggest lies always contain truth at the base of it, because that's how they're able to manipulate you. They tell you things that are true and then manipulate that information to push you in the direction they want you to go. But the reason why, defending Candace to an extent is still, I'm not going to knock anyone for doing that, is because she was doing what we all should have been doing, which was questioning it. Now, she did bring in a few things, that were a little bit questionable at one point or another, but she was questioning what was happening, which is commendable. But I would just encourage people to do the exact same thing I've been saying this whole show: follow the money, and then realize, oh yeah, Candace is funded by Oracle, so maybe she has some type of agenda on what she wants us to do. But that doesn't mean we can't appreciate all the correct points she's making, give her credit for that, while also telling people, hey, just don't forget, that she may have ulterior motives and she may try to manipulate you after she gains your trust.
So let's now give ourselves more credit that we deserve, now that we can recognize that we don't want to be distracted too much, but we still need to call out when Candace gets something right. And it's okay to, I'm not saying let's not say her name anymore. I'm just saying, how refreshing is it that we have all of this information that we can just actually report on, Jay? We don't actually need to rely on anyone else for it. And that brings me to my point on let's not blame ourselves from being so gullible and susceptible that we will do something that Candace, elevating Oracle as the example you gave, as she will have then the power to influence us because of Oracle. She won't. So let's not give her that. Who cares? I don't care that she has Oracle on a fucking thing behind her head, because I still look at the actual information. I don't care if she tells me to vote for JD Vance 3 years from now. I don't give a shit. We should be better than that, and we should give ourselves credit to be better than that. And I'm not going to. So next time I talk to Craig about this, because he says that's a very big deal. We have to be careful about what they want to do with us later. No, I don't have to be careful. I know how to look at information. I don't give, if Candace gets something wrong, I'll call her ass on it. I don't care what company is funding her. If she gets something right, we will also say that is right. Okay. So that's where I'm at. And let's just punch this with the thing that should have been enough. This should have been enough for all of us. It doesn't matter who's reporting it. This was released by the FBI. This is a sample from that text exchange that Kash Patel told us happened between the apparent killer and his furry roommate. This was what went out, and we were all supposed to buy this shit. Robinson, I'm still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orma for a little while longer. It shouldn't be long till I come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I hope to keep this secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you. You weren't the one who did it, right? Oh, I am. I'm sorry. Well, I thought they caught that other guy. That guy that was at 9/11 and he happened to be at this thing too. I thought that was the guy, right? No, honey, no, my love. They grabbed some other. So that was a crazy old dude. Like, he was a plant at 9/11 and they planted him here. But that was, I'm the one that did it. So I had planned to grab my rifle for my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. So it's quite almost enough to get out. So I have to go stop at Dairy Queen first, but there is one vehicle. I like to call my car a vehicle lingering. Why? Why did I do it? Yeah. Well, let me get into that, because this is the place I would do that, right here. Yeah. So I had enough of his hatred. That's why, my love. Some hate can't be negotiated out. So if I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence except this text message, which doesn't really matter because I just want to go get my rifle. So I'm going to go attempt to retrieve it again, my love. Hopefully they've moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. Well, how long have you been planning this? Oh, you want me to tell you my entire... Okay, well, a bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car part. Oh, I can get... Oh, there's a squad car. I think it's already swept by that spot, but I don't... They swept. That's what they do. They sweep by spots. And that's how we like to talk about that, right? So I don't want to chance it. So I'm wishing I circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle, my vehicle. I'm worried that my old man would do it if he didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. I don't know if it had a serial number. It would trace it to me. I'm worried about prints. Oh my God, all these things I'm worried about, which is basically the checklist of things that Kash Patel should be worried about. I'm just going to say it for him in this text, and that'll cover his ass. I might have to abandon it and hope that they don't find prints. How the fuck will I explain losing this to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was Oh, there's the engraving bullet. Well, the fucking messages are mostly a big meme, but I see notices bulge UWU on Fox News. I might have a stroke. All right. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to leave it. This really fucking sucks. I think there's one more little thing. Oh, he tells him to delete the exchange. My dad wants photos of the rifle. So, because
of course deleting it gets rid of it, and it can never be recovered. Once you delete it from your phone, it's all good. There's no, and don't forget, guys, this is a 4.0 engineering student. He's not exactly a dummy. Like, this is an intelligent guy. Like, you know, like who did this, who laid out everything about this assassination, every little detail in a text. that he was sending his girlfriend. And he knew that he was putting this person at risk by involving them, and then proceeded to give them every single detail of what he wanted to do, because he knew by messaging the person, he was putting them at risk, and then decided to put every single detail that the FBI would want into the message. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, he has to give exposition about his dad being a diehard MAGA. That's also, he has time to do a breakdown of that, as if it's the first time that his lover, furry friend is hearing it, because that's what it sounds like. It's the first time he's telling him. This would be a time to give you a little more backstory on my dad. And then he says he's going to turn himself in, and that covers that base on that. He just decides to give up and come clean, using the text as the vehicle to justify this. And then, of course, at the end, what you're saying, Jay, is don't talk to the media. So I do care about your well-being, and just all you got to do is delete this text. No one will know that we ever talked. Don't say anything. Don't make comments. If they ask, just ask for a lawyer and stay silent. So there you go. This is what was given to us. Yes.
And then he pleads not guilty after he turns himself in, after all this. So, you know, this is what we're supposed to believe. So, you know, it really makes zero sense. You know, I'm glad for sure that he's still alive, but to be honest with you, I thought something bad, you know, was going to happen to him, and they were just going to try to pin it on him. So we'll see, you know, what winds up happening. But yeah, the whole case is just insane. So,
yeah.
And the fact that they're trying to say anyone who questions this, like, is a conspiracy theorist, just completely devalues, like it erases the meaning, like, of that word for anyone who still thought it meant something. And that word has been erased for me and a lot of, you know, our viewers on this channel for a very long time. But, you know, some people still use that term, unfortunately.
Yeah. So we need to learn our lessons from this case and know that, you know, this is how we handle ourselves. We look at the evidence, we assess it, we analyze it, we have discussions. You guys out there could do the same. You don't have a homeless love show, but any of your ways that you communicate, you can do the same. We don't want to get stuck in these distractions of the theater part of this, even though groups like TPUSA are in the business of doing theater and keep parading Erica around. And we have the ability, we have the critical thinking skills to know that this is BS. We can look at it and say there's something wrong with this. We don't need to cite Candace Owens telling us that there's something wrong with it. We know there's something wrong with this. So that's why we do the work, guys. You know, we've been doing the work. I'm not going to go down the TPUSA rabbit hole right now. We've been covering it more recently on the show, but this story deservingly is number 2 because it does pull the curtain back on this entire apparatus that we've seen over and over. But more than ever, whatever side you're on, Charlie Kirk, Trump, Biden, wherever you stand, this should infuriate everyone. And we should all be looking at the capture of this foreign entity and why our FBI behaves this way, and why a Christian group like TPUSA has to let us know Shabbat Shalom all of a sudden. And that's what Charlie wanted. And so we need to stay on this story. That's yeah.
Yeah, and the last thing I just want to leave everyone with, you know, in regards to Erica specifically, you know, it's funny that before Charlie Kirk's death, he clearly had questions about our relationship with Israel. Like, we see it in his interviews, we see it in his text messages, yet she will not say anything like about that. The only time she mentions Israel is in a positive light and to talk about how much Charlie loved Israel. And just compare that to Jackie Kennedy, or MLK's wife. Right. Like, Jackie Kennedy, she kept to herself. She didn't say anything. She took some time to grieve, but she didn't come out and say, anyone who questions this, you know, like, you're crazy, like, you know, off rip. And if you look at MLK's wife, she actually sued the American government down the road and found them liable for MLK's death. So Erica's reaction has been to protect the people who likely at least have some level of involvement, like, in this whole incident. So, you know, the fact that she will not mention the fact that, you know, Charlie had questions about Israel tells you a lot about what's happening right now, because it's definitely relevant, because he was being called an anti-Semite in the weeks leading up to his death, and it was a noticeable change in his stance, yet she has nothing to say about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think the moment we've all been waiting for, number one story. We couldn't get all of them in here, and I know there's other important stories. We just could not squeeze into 10. But we did spend a good amount of time on all these because they deserve the time. So here we are. Everything comes back. We talk about everything comes back to Israel. Everything comes back to this apparatus. It seems that everybody is working together. Republicans, Democrats, media, foreign governments, our government. Everything seems to be working together. Every corporation in on it. And here we are. Number one story of 2025. And this, I think, is the big reveal for a lot of people who may have missed everything else, Jay. But this is the one, I think, that got them to go, that's effed up. And it's very effed up. This is the story, guys. Top censored news of the year. Number one story. Epstein Mossad connection reveals global blackmail, pedo ring, and both party capture. That's it. There's no other way to look at it. Everything's out on the table. If we were living in another universe, we would have made this a story immediately when Trump came into office, and every news network would have been having discussions like this.
Epstein scandal. Now, as part of our investigation, we spoke to Ari Ben-Mashani, who is a former Israeli spy. He said on the record unequivocally that Jeffrey Epstein was working for Israeli intelligence operations, the Mossad, and running a classic honey trap operation. That is, lure people inside, record their activities, and learn about their peccadillos and use it to blackmail them. This is a former spy on the record in the new book, Epstein, Dead Men Tell No Tales. Interestingly, this person was also the handler of Jeffrey Epstein's best friend and ex-girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell. She was said to have been one of the women who helped procure the underage girls for Epstein. She has denied that. But her father was Robert Maxwell, a media and press baron who owned the Mirror News Group in England and also the New York Daily News. He was a former Mossad agent. And according to my source, Ari Ben-Mashari, the business that Robert Maxwell had was turned over to Jeffrey Epstein almost in a switch before Robert Maxwell died in mysterious circumstances off the back of a boat in 1991.
Well, this is mind-boggling stuff.
Well, this is mind-boggling stuff, Jay. And we can't wait for every news outlet to be picking up on this and running with it, especially because when Trump got into office and he put Pam Bondi in charge and Kash Patel in charge and Dan Bongino in charge, that these are the people that were going to blow the lid off this thing. Which, as we know, spoiler alert, they didn't. And so I'm going to play this clip because this is what everything comes down to. Because what we saw them talk about on this little tiny morning show is not what ended up happening. And this should be the biggest reveal for everyone. When Trump called this moment where Pam Bondi, the official day that Pam Bondi came in and gave her findings after weeks and weeks of we're looking at files, thousands of tapes, FBI's combing through. We're ready to go. This is the big one, Jay. I want to play it and then we'll discuss. But this is the clip of 2025. And I said this is the end, not just the end of MAHA, which we covered earlier. This is the end of MAGA, but it's also the end of our two-party duopoly. That's what this is. Here we go. If you guys missed it the first time, this is the moment. Top censored news of the year.
Released yesterday on Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former labor secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the stabbing?
Yeah, sure. If could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said, I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
And that's it. That's
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. It's all been solved. The guy killed himself. He was a lone wolf. Like that's all it was, man. And sure, he had a lot of rich friends who were hanging out with him after he was convicted of trafficking children for sex, but they didn't know what was going on. They were just hanging out with him because he was a smart guy who was good with numbers. So, if you have any more questions about that, you're just a conspiracy theorist. But, jokes aside, what I want people to realize is this has been going on for a long time, long before Jeffrey Epstein was even alive. There's a whole history of our intelligence agencies running these blackmail operations. Whitney Webb talks about it, in her book, One Nation Under Blackmail. If you want to look at how we started doing it, it came from our involvement in organized crime. Like from the involvement of intelligence agencies in organized crime, trying to gather information, and that operation expanded out. But if you go back further than that, the secret societies that I speak about, the Freemasons, like part of their pledging process is you have to tell like all your deepest, darkest secrets, and they have to have some form, they have to know all about you as you get into these, secret societies. So this has been a technique that has been used by people in positions of power for a very, very, very long time, hundreds of years. It's documented. So don't, of course, find out what's going on with Epstein, but just realize it's bigger than him and it's bigger than Israel. But these are all key parts that we have to talk about to expose what's going on.
Yeah, and this conversation can only happen if you have honest people in the space having the discussion. And we're not gonna see it from this Trump administration. There's still people holding on to it. But I think the good news is that a lot of people did wake up. And I do think this moment, and the reason this did hit #1 here, was because this is the moment where I think a good majority of Trump voters said, I've had enough. At this moment, when Pam Bondi looks at us and tells us that Epstein killed himself, that what she meant by files was a file, not actual files, and then starts to label Epstein as just this individual, sick and twisted pedo guy that just liked to look at kiddie porn, and then he killed himself, and that's it. Meanwhile, the other report we played before that has actual information, actual witnesses and ties to the Mossad, and then what you're talking about, Jay, goes even further, deeper. How are we if we can't even mention Mossad, and Pam Bondi's going to say, I'll get back to you on that, but I don't have anything. After months and months, I don't have anything. I'm still looking for this minute that he killed himself. We don't even have that minute because that doesn't actually exist. That's why. So here we are. Trump goes on and calls this a Democratic hoax. He throws Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene under the bus. And here we are now with little things coming out, both sides at each other's throats. But at the end of the day, as Elon Musk says, and I did end up finding this, he says, no one's going to jail. That's it. There's your count. There's your arrest count.
You know,
right there.
one point that I want people to remember, and they asked about it, you know, like, well, they mentioned it in that clip you just played. Alexander Acosta, who was the prosecutor who gave Epstein that slap on the wrist for trafficking children, he was appointed by Trump to be the Secretary of Labor, which is a department that's supposed to be in charge of fighting sex trafficking. So Trump literally gave this guy the position in charge of fighting sex trafficking, and no one is really pressing him on, number one, well, why did you choose him of all people? And then number two, what do you think about the slap on the wrist that your pick gave to Epstein back in those days? Like, isn't child sex trafficking a more serious crime? And why was Epstein allowed to leave jail literally every single day? Nobody's really asking that question, you know, anymore. And, you know, the fact is, we can't get the truth from Trump because Trump is tied to the same circles. Epstein died under his watch, and he's been appointing people to his administration that are directly connected to him. And he takes money from people who are directly connected to Jeffrey Epstein. So clearly, we're not going to get the truth from Trump or the administration, because Trump would be part of this criminal conspiracy happening, just like how he's part of Operation Warp Speed. We could not have had that shot were it not for Trump. So we can't expect him to give us justice on these issues if he's directly complicit. Because if it's one thing we know about Trump, he cares about himself a whole lot.
Yeah. So moving ahead from here, I think that it is important, like I said, to mention that. Oh, can you? Am I freezing up, or do you got me?
Yeah, you're a little choppy right now.
Okay, let me see if I can. Hold on.
Yeah. So. But yeah, I definitely do have to, you know, run in a little bit. Yeah, ASAP actually. So
okay, well, I'm going to finish it up with this. We've seen a bunch of these tweets, and I think it's important because it shows us that there is a message happening from this populist voice that used to be conservative, and there's some of obviously us on the left side that also find ourselves in this space of detaching from the two-party duopoly. It's happening right now. There's some big voices. This is Patriotic Blonde saying, "Dear liberals, you and I are not friends. We disagree on everything from abortion to the Second Amendment. Your belief system is abhorrent to nearly every personal and political value I hold. That said, you did try to warn us about Trump. You screamed and yelled from the mountaintops that he was not what he presented himself to be. And I, like many, refused to listen. I mocked you. I laughed at you when he won. I felt entitled to his victory because I dedicated 8 years of my life to his campaign. My eyes are open now. This is not the man I voted for. When I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I apologize." I think that's kind of a big deal, seeing that, because it says she's not, I'm going to go be a Democrat now. She's saying, I'm not, we have nothing in common, but I'm willing to say that something's wrong with the thing I thought had some. So there's something going on in this space, and I think it's a good thing. And I think a third party, like a We the People party, this might be perfect timing to capture the people's attention right now that feel like both sides have let them down.
Yeah, and you know, the only issue I take, you know, with that tweet is she starts it out by saying we have nothing in common. You and I are not friends. You know, I think it's possible to make friends with anyone, you know, on the political spectrum, and it's actually pretty easy to find things that you have in common, you know, between both ends of the spectrum. Like, for example, both sides are against war. People may have disagreements on how many people should come into the country, but we can agree that we should probably know who's coming in and out of the country. So, you know, there's a lot of common ground. So I really hope that people stop, you know, taking the position that they have nothing in common with people who they disagree with politically, because the truth is, like, she just mentioned culture war issues just now. Like, you know, the Second Amendment and abortion, those are both considered like culture war issues, but a lot of the core issues we can agree on. So, you know, as we end the year, I just encourage everyone to focus on the data, which includes not just like current data, but also context. Because if we don't understand how we got to where we are in the world, then we're not going to know how to not only fix the problems that we have, but prevent the problems from repeating themselves like down the road. So if we take a look at verifiable facts and data, I personally believe we can find a lot more common ground, and that's what we're trying to do at the We the People Party. So, you know, I appreciate you bringing that up, because it's the first political party where voters decide the issues. Like literally every person running has to pledge to vote for the issues that their voters rank as the most important to them. And the difference is once you join this party, you actually have the ability to recall like your candidate and kick them out the party if they betray, you know, their promises on the campaign. So you have the executive authority in the We the People Party. The whole point of the We the People Party is decentralization. That's decentralization of power, you know, as well as ideas. So, you know, we want each different part of the country to be able to implement solutions that work the best for them, as we all rally around the common ground, which is being against war, against corruption, and recognizing the benefits of decentralization. For example, specifically on those culture war issues that Patriotic Blonde mentioned just now. So the truth is, like, if left to the people, I do agree the abortion laws would probably be different in Texas versus California, but both Texans and Californians want us to end corruption and to stop wasting money all over the world. So let's focus on the common ground, and then we can figure out the differences later, and we can look at data together and come up with solutions that work for everybody.
Love it. Thanks, Jay. And you know what? Thanks for being such a key part of this movement of the homeless left this whole year. You've been just a great partner, friend, and just, you know, just a leader yourself in this space as we've trying to grow and build what we're doing as we head into next year. So appreciate it, man. Really
I appreciate you, man. The work you're doing, you know, is not easy. You know, independent media takes a lot of hours to put everything together. I know the type of work you put in behind the scenes to make this happen, and 2026 is our year. So I'm looking forward to it. Let's keep building this momentum, and, you know, let's wake some people up. So awesome. Happy New Year to you, Matt, and to all of our homeless left followers out there. Go find some common ground with someone you disagree with, and let's start the new year out right. So later, everyone.
Well said, my friend. Happy New Year to you, and we'll see you on the backside. 2026. All right. Take care. All right. There it is. That's it, guys. Top censored news of the year coming to a close. We won't be clipping this one out because it's basically all there for you. You guys can rewatch it if you came in late. Just go ahead and rewatch. We covered the 10 stories. We had Craig Pasta Jardula, and we had Jay Scott. You just saw. We had NIKO House coming to us as well. So it was a great discussion throughout this afternoon. Second to last day of the year, I believe. So wherever you guys are in your life, in your space, I hope you have, you know, a place that you can be that's safe and allows you to reflect on where you're at in your life, what you've been through this past year, and this is the time to do it. Kind of like what were the highs, what were the lows, and what can we do differently moving into next year? We talk about New Year's resolutions. They can look like anything. I mean, you might have personal goals for yourself, but what can we do as a people? What can we resolve to as a people moving ahead? Can we figure out a way to connect with people that we don't agree on everything with? Can we understand them more? Can we go for understanding? Is that something we're capable of? Perhaps it is. Perhaps others have been inspired by the example you've been setting and we've been setting. Maybe it's time to reconnect with people that have fallen apart for whatever reason before, but now this might be the time to start those relationships again, especially right now with all of the warmongering going on a massive scale all over the world. We don't have enough top censored news to cover every single scandal and warmongering efforts that we've been seeing on a day-to-day basis. So we're going to take the time to do this. Exactly. We're not just preaching it, we're practicing it too. Leslie and I are going to I think we're going to do a little trip out of town again and come back refreshed, ready for you guys. I think what we have decided is to take just a little 2-week pause, which is important. We need to take a little breath before starting the next season, as we call it, the season of Homeless Left. So I believe the 13th will be our next engagement with you. So we're going to need the 2 weeks. That's I guess that would be 2 weeks from today. So we'll be back here ready to go, start the next year off strong. And I hope that in the next 2 weeks, you guys can also find reinvented strength, rediscovered strength, new ideas, aha moments, these things that we like to keep with us as we move forward, so we can always be growing, always be building, always be looking at stuff in a different lens that maybe we didn't see before, so re-examining things. But let's get ready for this new year, because it is going to be a crazy one. We told you 2025 was going to be crazy. This one's going to be even more insane. So that's it for today. I got to thank our guests today. Obviously, Craig, Jay, NIKO. A big thank you to our mods. We know Bonzo Bean's doing such a good work for us, bringing over the Due Dissidents group. If you're still with Due Dissidents and you're still with us, you've been watching a long time today, we really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and get on board with the Homeless Left when we do go live again, which will be, 2 weeks from now. But I think we'll be uploading a couple more videos before that. You should get the notification whether you're on Rumble or you're on YouTube. But just to throw it up here one more time for you guys, that's the Rumble channel, the Homeless Left. On YouTube, it's THL Presents, but I think it's starting to show up in the search. So I think you can actually type in Homeless Left now, the Homeless Left on YouTube, and the channel will come up. And that's good. That's really good. We're making progress there, fighting the censorship industrial complex, which we have to do every day, all the time. That's why we appreciate the likes and the shares and the subscribes. Any little bit helps. And of course, Twitter. This is also good. The Homeless Left channel it's still kind of new, but you can follow both of us. Matt Weinglass, that's the one. Obviously, I've been doing that one a lot longer, and we do tend to post and share stuff quickly on there before we cover it on the show. So you'll be first to find out stuff that we're interested in, that we're looking at, and you're free to DM us as well. You can DM me directly on Matt Weinglass. If it doesn't work, I think you can just do it on the Homeless Left as well. I know sometimes people say it doesn't work, but either one of these you can DM me on, and we really appreciate it. I'm gonna just read a couple comments here because we didn't have Leslie today, and I'm not really able to do a talking back with you guys right now officially, because we do have to wrap up the show. But this Rumble rant came in from Airways, and I think this was important from Airways. Thank you for the Rumble rant. If the Palestinians get shipped off to Somaliland because the UN is a fake organization of United Nations, then then the Palestinians should set out in government to rename Somaliland because the UN is a fake. True enough. Can't agree with that anymore. That's thank you so much, Airways, for that. Really appreciate it. And we certainly have to give a shout out to Citizen Pendejo. Been giving us some good super chats today. I want to make sure I didn't miss any of them. I think we might have missed this one. Thank you, Citizen. I'm glad you are bringing up the mainstream media. That's what we do, guys. That's what we do here. We call out the mainstream media inability, or for whatever reason, they have no interest in covering these stories honestly. That's the only reason we're here. If the mainstream media did their job, we wouldn't have to be doing this. We'd be doing something else, and you guys would be watching them. That's what you'd be doing. You'd be watching mainstream, and we'd be doing something else. But unfortunately, they don't do their job, or their job is actually the opposite. Their job is to protect the powerful, is to shut us down, is to pit us against each other, is to pick and choose talking points that they want to distract us with while leaving the main heart of the story out. That's what they do. They do it all the time. So yes, of course, we're going to call them out. So thank you for that, Citizen. And I think one more from Citizen Pendejo. urban warfare. That's what we have left. My plan, I don't know, you have a colon there. Did you have another plan there? I don't see it here. But I know you've been commenting on our YouTube page, so maybe I'll go check that out. But for now, unless there's any, let's see if there's any other Rumble rants I'll throw up real quick. Or super chats. I'll get them up here quick, but we do have to sign off now with the show. This is not going to be a 5-hour show. It's actually not going to be a 4-hour show. It seems like we're going to make the 4-hour mark. So that's good. Right before the 4-hour mark. So appreciate everybody. I'll try to throw a few comments up at the end. I see I'm kind of doing a little bit of a glitch right now. Let's see. Okay. I think we're good. Okay, we're good to end the show now. We're good to end the show. Thank you guys all for tuning in. I was gonna do this with the guys. Actually, let's just do it us. Let's just us do it. We'll do it, guys. Let's do a toast. I got some mezcal right here. This is very cool. Leslie and I had picked this up in our travels in Mexico. So we're gonna do this on behalf of traveling around outside of our country, at least. Let's pour a shot here. You guys grab something, grab one of your things that you got. Maybe you can go to your fridge real quick, or go a shot of something, or you guys can do open a champagne if you have it, whatever you got, or you maybe have something left over. We're using this. This is a shot glass from Tulum, which is pretty awesome. So we're gonna do it out of the shot glass from Tulum. And what this is, what the mezcal is it's a agave, but it's done in it's from Mexico. But let me see if I can grab my note here, make sure I call this right. Yeah, so it's this is a, what do we got here? Yeah, so this is called mezcal. It's an oven cooked agave. It's from the Mexico 16th century. So it's just a little shout out to our Latin friends down south. And this is to 2025. We got through it. Okay, we got through it, and we're ready for 2026. And we're going to do 2026 with our critical thinking skills, not tribal. We're non-tribal. We're going to go into it open and going for understanding. If others aren't where we're at, that's fine. We can meet them where they're at. But we have picked up tools and abilities and resources that we can use to articulate where we're coming from, and hopefully look for ways to connect better, sharper, in a more honest way, where we can hopefully inspire others as well to be critical thinkers, which is what we're doing here in this community. The Homeless Left, a non-tribal approach to news. We're done with you, 2025. Here's to the next one, 2026. We're ready for you. We're ready for you. Come and get us. Here we go. Oh, wow. That does have a little oak flavor to it. Woo. That is nice. Okay. We are at, oh, thank you. Thank you. We should go bottoms up. Okay. Fixed it. That wasn't even letting me end the show. So for those who stayed back, we'll go ahead and end the stream right now. I just want to make sure the light's good. Yeah, it wasn't even StreamYard wasn't even letting me end it. So this is what we deal with, guys. This is what it's about. And what a better way to go out. What a more that we go out in 2026 with a glitch right before we were ending the show. How insane is that? But those who stuck with it, thank you so much. We just did the toast. I hope that did make it on the show. We did the toast, and then I saw the freeze. But we're good, guys. We're good. So we're gonna go ahead and end it, and I'll throw you guys' comments up. Thank you guys so much. I'm just gonna bring up the outro video, and it is appropriate that we end with this kind of inspiration that I feel is some sort of hope. There's some hope we have now that the people in the middle, the people that call themselves populists, the people that might have voted for Trump, there's some people on the left as well with us that understand that both parties are captured, and now more than ever, there are people ready to throw the whole thing away. And I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys with this outro here, and we'll see you guys back here on 2 weeks from today. We'll see you guys for the next season, 2026. This person on this outro, she's going to tell you that there is no left and there is no right, and it's time to leave identity politics behind, moving into 2025. That's it, guys. Thanks for all of your contribution and engagement, and we're really building something here. Thank you guys all, and we'll see you guys next year. Have a great New Year's, and remember, power to the people. And when you go out there, always act with courage, conviction, and principle. Free Palestine. We'll see you guys next year.
Anymore. They're all run by the same globalists. You have to see that. You have to see that right now, right here, right now. There's no left. There's no right. There's no voting our way out of it. There's no making sure we vote for conservatism, because if we don't, the left is going to take over and it's going to get all crazy again. Do you not understand? There is no left. Why do you think Netanyahu was the very first world leader to come out and congratulate Joe Biden on his win in 2020? Because he controlled it then too. There's no left. My full chest, and tell you there's no left, there's no right. There's no conservative that's going to save you. There's nobody from the left that understands you, that wants equality. We've been infiltrated on both parties, and until every single person out there sees that and understands that it's being run by the same globalists, nothing will change. Nothing will change. There's no left. There's no right. The Democrats are not my enemy. The liberal kids who dye their hair and scream about equality, they're kids. They're immature. They don't get it yet. They will get it in time. That's what I keep telling my kid when he starts to kind of lean into, well, he just doesn't like black. No, nobody hates black people. Nobody hates white people. Being trained, and your algorithm, you're being trained to keep that division going because they're putting out the loudest voices. Most normal, everyday people don't give a fuck what color you are. Most normal, everyday black people aren't demanding reparation. It's orchestrated. It's fake. None of it's real. Right down to George Floyd and COVID-19. Until you see that, until you recognize it, until you feel it in your bones, nothing is going to change. Nothing. Keep feeding the machine. I need you to see it. I need you to see it. I need you to believe it. And then I need you to join us, because I don't know what the outcome is going to be, but it isn't doing more of this. The definition of hell is doing the same thing over and over and over again. And if the Republicans have full control of everything and nothing has changed. It's only been the Democrats impeached. It's all show. They did more in that first year than the Republicans have done yet in their first year. Please wake up. I'm begging you to see it. I'm begging you to see it.